What's up, guys? Quo here, and we'll be going over the Minish Cap as a speedrun tutorial. So first, to get a few things out of the way, version differences, I'll be playing this on the Japanese version. Japanese is the fastest. The other two versions are the North American and European version. And they're a bit slower, first of all, for text differences, and second of all, for other small oddities. I'll go over the route differences when I can, but there are some manipulations that don't work on the other two versions that I'm not going to go over, frankly, because I don't know them. But if you pop in the Discord and ask, I'm sure someone can help you with that. That being said, if you want to actually play the game on a console, there's a few options. Wii U is the fastest by about 25 seconds, but other options are Game Boy Player and emulator. I'll be playing on emulator for the convenience of save states and all that for the tutorial, but normally I play on Wii U, which is really easy to set up, so is emulator. Again, just ask in Discord and people will be happy to help you out. That being said, let's get started. So file name, you can choose whatever you like, but one character is faster. So we're going to go with that. And before you start the run, you want to press R and change this to the right. That's the fast text speed. That just saves time over the run. This is screen brightness. It doesn't really change anything, so it's whatever your liking is. Now, before you start the game, you'll want a soft reset, so either A/B start select, or if you're on an emulator, just for leaderboard rules to make sure everything stays accurate, you'll press Control R, and that shows the BIOS screen, which is the little Game Boy screen that shows up. If you see that, you're good. Again, on console, just A/B start select, or a soft reset, and just mash through A, and you start the timer right when you hear the second ding before the screen fades to black. So I'll get a few emulator stuff covered out of the way. So necessarily you'll want the input display and the frames per second and frame counter in the top right. Again, just for accuracy's sake. Okay, one last thing while we're talking about emulators. So you'll notice that the frame counter is blocking the hearts, and obviously that's not that good. And I only learned this halfway through the tutorial, so you'll see for part of it the hearts are blocked off, but if you just stretch the screen down, the numbers move up, and then so does the input capture. So you can just put it up as much as you need to, and then capture those separately if you need to, so you can actually see what's going on with the gameplay. So I did mention manipulations earlier. I'm only going to go over a few of them for the beginner route, because frankly, most of them only save a few seconds, so the ones that we can skip, I'll gloss over fast, but for the most part I'll really stick to the beginner route here. But there's one right at the beginning. So a few things to know about manipulations is whenever you roll, whenever you roll with the R button or slash your sword, that changes the RNG. Also using boots changes the RNG. Alright, so if there's a weird cut in the video, that's because I loaded a save state instead of saving one, which was not intended. Anyways, for manipulations, sword slashes, rolling, and then a few other items such as the Pegasus boots and the Gust Jar change RNG. And then so does things like NPC patterns, enemy patterns, and drops. So there are some places where we just can't manipulate because RNG changes every frame, so that's a no-go. But for the most part, I'll just speed this up a bit since we have the convenience of emulator. So for the most part, when I say roll once, only roll once, for example. That's pretty simple. Text mashing. You're going to want to hold B and then spin the control stick. So the control stick gives you 4 inputs every time you do a spin. And if you want, you can also hit the A or R button as well. So that's optimal text mashing if you do something like that. I just spin the control stick because I don't want to destroy my hands. Sometimes you can just hold B and do A and R. We'll go over why you would want to do that later, but for most of the time, just spin the control stick. The manipulation, as I mentioned before, is you just roll 2 times in this room, and it's literally that easy. And that's for getting 1 blue rupee coming up in one of the pots to the top left of the room there. So small trick here, you're going to want to open this chest with A, because if you mess up in the roll, then you just break the manipulation, and that sucks. But if you do it right, you should get a blue rupee. So again, it's just 2 rolls in the first room, and then the rest should follow fine. If you do that and you just can't get it, don't worry about it. It's like a 15-second time loss or something like that. It's not, the end of the world if you're just starting out. I'll point out where you want to get the rupees instead later. Alright, for now we're just going to go through the Minish Festival. There's not much tech to this place, just timing your rolls to make sure you don't have too much time walking. But also, whenever a cutscene starts, or Link wants to move, so for example, right there he took a step back to move in front of Zelda, and he's going to take a step to the left a bit. You want to be as close to that position as possible, because that just cuts down the time that Link walks to that position. So you'll see that used, well here obviously, a few times coming up, and then a lot of the times after bosses especially, when you collect elements. But we'll get to that later. Alright, so once you get the shield, you can go up. And for this guy, you just stand in front. The closer you get to him, the more likely he is to go down in his shrub. So you don't want to get too close, but the closer you are, the faster he, well, the faster you reflect them back at him and he lets you pass. On the Japanese version, you can actually soft lock right here if you roll frame perfectly into the mare. So that's cool. Watch out for that. But it's frame perfect and it's really hard to do. So just don't do that, basically. It's not something you should be scared of, but it's something to note, I guess. We'll just fast forward through all this. So again, just hold B, spin the control stick, mash A and R if you want to. And that's the cutscene. State. Alright. So press A to get out of bed. This maid, wow. Sometimes she blocks your way when rolling through this door, so sometimes gets annoying. But anyways, a few more cutscenes and then we'll actually start the game. So a lot of the first part of the game is going to be Overworld movements. I'll show you guys the most optimal paths to take, but whether or not you, learning how to space your rolls and stuff like that is something that comes with time. So sometimes you'll either engage something and you'll go too far, or other things, so that just, again, comes with time. Whenever a map screen pops up, just mash A and B, because that doesn't get cleared by the control stick. Alright, so I'm not going to use excuses, but if I do mess something up, I'm using a setup that I'm not normally used to, so apologies in advance. Alright, here you want to be careful to not hit those vines because they can hurt you. You're not too scared of, of dying too early in the game, but it is still something to look out for, especially for newer runners. The first few minutes aren't too bad, but starting when you enter the first dungeon, it can get pretty rough if you're not used to it. That being said, at the beginning of your roll, you have roll invincibility, so you can use that to roll through enemies. Not to get confused with Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, where it's at the end of the roll. Here it's at the beginning. Alright, here's pretty easy. They both just die in one hit, and then at the end you just want to stand in front of Ezlo, so same thing I mentioned earlier. After Ezlo talks to you, roll down, and you'll be doing that 3 times. Fun fact, Ezlo actually pushes you a few pixels each time, which is the most useful thing it does this entire run. That being said, once you get Ezlo, we'll enter the Minish Village. So there's always going to be a first cutscene every time you shrink into a shrinking portal the first time, but the next time we enter a stump portal we'll be able to skip this cutscene. But the first one necessarily we do need to watch it. Now, as of making this video, it's actually possible to get the lily pad on the first cycle. The task has done it, and people have done it in real time, but no one has done it in runs that I know of anyways. So hopefully that changes soon, but I don't see the day. Not anytime soon anyways. And definitely not consistently. Alright, so the path through Minish Village is a bit awkward. I'll have a graph that shows sort of the lines that you want to take, because sometimes there are maps where you necessarily want to do specific paths, and it can get a bit confusing for newer runners, but again, as long as you get to the right place, it wouldn't be more than a couple seconds. You want to talk to this guy. This game loves flags, so before you can do anything, you have to talk to this guy, and then you need to go get the Jabbernut, and then you go talk to the Elder, and then you can enter the dungeon. So. Alright, so walk up to the Elder, and you can talk to him. And you get another map screen coming up, so just mash A and B here. And jumping down there is a tiny bit faster. And we're going in the first dungeon. A lot of people split on the black screen there, if you're interested in such. Alright, we'll just throw down a save state here. And let's have fun. Alright, so again, remember what I said about rolls? Oops, sometimes these enemies will get in the way, so you can either roll through them or... Oh, I'm messing up my rolls. They take 2 hits to kill. Yeah. Alright, so really important mechanic. Right here there are Ezlo triggers. So just notice how fast Ezlo comes out. If you roll into this trigger, Ezlo takes significantly longer to come out, so about a second difference from when Link stops moving. So make sure whenever you have an Ezlo trigger, so like let's say you pick up this key, you roll, and then you walk into the Ezlo trigger. Again, rolling into it, not the end of the world, but it is something you want to avoid. There's another one here. And here you want to pull up until you see the third set of sweat drops. If you actually get it on the very first frame of the third set of sweat drops, you fall in the water, but after that, so third set of sweat drops for the first one. Another Ezlo trigger right before this button. We'll push this one here. And then we'll just walk off to the right, so that's the fastest way to get off of here and back to the barrel. Now I did mention the Ezlo thing, but there are a few exceptions to that rule. So the first stump, there was an Ezlo trigger there. That one was fine to roll into. This one as well. We're not sure why, it works that way. Yeah, the first dungeon is really just the tutorial dungeon. That mushroom you don't need to push that much. You can actually get through this room without killing that pesto if you get lucky. But most of the time just killing him is the best way to go about, because he can bother you and just stack up damage on you pretty easily. Oops. That's something else that can happen. If you turn and you roll on the same frame and you're supposed to open a chest or a door or something, you're actually going to roll instead. That's just an oddity of the mechanics of Minish Cap. If you do a frame perfect roll, when you change direction, you're not going to open the chest or talk to the person or whatever you're supposed to be doing. Alright, same thing here, third set of sub drops. And here it's the ending of the third set of sweat drops. So again, if you don't memorize those things, it's a few frames at most. So not something to especially worry about when you're new, but it is something to keep in mind. So you can take a bit of damage here depending on how much damage you have taken, but again, you don't want to lose all your health. That would not be good. Alright, so for this room, one of the most optimal ways is to roll up and get this guy stuck against the wall. So they all take 3 hits to hit, and if you can get them stuck against the wall, they won't recoil back super far. So that was actually a respectable fight. Oops. Alright, so if something like that happens, for example, you need to chase them around the room. That's less than ideal. But anyways, roll, kill this guy, and then either left or right. And that's fine. Okay, we'll just get that for now. Remember, whenever you pick up something for the first time, save for keys and kinstones, so the text box will appear all the time. But whenever you pick up either rupees or hearts or mysterious shells for the first time, there's always going to be a text box, so just hold B and spin the save through that. Alright, so coming up next is Matter Pillar. If you're wondering about any layout changes or anything, it's because I'm bad at recording things. Anyways, I'll do this fight first. So you want to basically hit his nose and then smack his tail a bunch, and you do that twice or 3 times depending on which cycle you get. Oh wow, okay, I got a 3 cycle, which happens. Alright then. And you stand in front of the chest. Okay, so specifically, it's not that hard of a fight. His original movement is random, so he might go left, he might go right or something. But basically, you just go up to him and hit him in the nose. You don't want to slash your sword too fast, because I saw Link recoiled a bit. And sometimes you're actually so far away that you can't hit his tail. And I'll try to show that off again. Let's see, go like this. Okay, well, I'm not fast enough. Nah, that was a 2 cycle, so. Even if you do get recoiled, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, make sure you wait till his heart really turns into that tail shape. Heart shape, rather. Because if you start, like, and then at that point, you're probably getting a 3 cycle. Hit his nose, wait, and then slash. And there you go. Alright, one last time before we move on. And you can use your shield to not take damage if he's coming towards you. There you go, and at the end, you can place yourself right in front of the chest, so you can just mash A after to open the chest to get the Gust Jar. Equip the Gust Jar. If you need a heart refill, you can go down here to get a Heart Beast, which will refill your health. But if not, you just go to the right, and we'll keep going with the dungeon. So if you need a heart, there is one in this pot. There's actually one earlier that I forgot to mention as well. I'll probably I'll point it out somehow. We'll get it. Okay. Alright, back in the barrel. Get the spiral whip out of the way, and then fall down the hole. If the barrel's hole isn't like specifically on top of the other hole, even if you can see it, sometimes it doesn't matter, because sometimes it won't let you fall down, so just play with the barrel until it's close enough. Here, if you walk into the Ezreal trigger with your Gust Jar out, it cancels out the ending animation of the Gust Jar, and that's a bit faster. Here you want to be careful of these guys, they can mess you up. I recommend killing them, especially if you're new, but you can get around not killing them, if you're good. Which I try to pretend to be sometimes. Nice, okay. There's another backup heart in this pot, so take that one if you need it. Oops. Messing up my Gust Jar movement. Impeccable performance. Alright, once you get this key, you'll just backtrack a little bit and we'll go get the boss key, and then pretty much done the dungeon. Oops. Oops. That's what happens when you try to press A to open things. Alright, be careful here that you're not too close, because or else you'll start drowning. So for a visual cue, I just line up the edge of the gust jar with the edge of the shore right there. So earlier I mentioned if you couldn't get the manipulation right, you can go down this ladder and get 20 rupees there. That's if you didn't do the earlier manipulation. If you did, and you have 25 rupees right now, since I got an extra rupee, that's 30, but that's fine. You can go down on this side. Same thing here, don't get too close. Here as well. And open the door. Alright, we'll fast forward this a bit. Alright, so Choo Choo's not too hard of the first boss, you just need to use the gust jar on his base. You want to keep him as centered as possible, so that way his first sway is going to be pretty fast. So you saw how he just he swayed fast and then he went on the other side immediately. So for example, if I do it, if he's not in the middle, he's going to stay on the left side until he gets the middle, and then right, and then left. So we want to avoid that as much as possible. So having Link stay in the middle also helps Choo Choo stay in the middle, since I always try to follow him. Oops. I'm just going to cheat a bit. So left, right, left. He'll always sway at least 3 times. So if he starts on the left, you want to stay on the left. If he starts on the right, you want to stay on the right. That way he does left, right, left, or right, left, right, instead of left, right, left, right. Link is on the right side, for example. So again, he always falls on the side Link is on. So here I want to be on the left side. You can just slash your sword from underneath him, and you actually get pushed back and Choo Choo doesn't hit you. Alright, so if you need them, there are hearts in these 4 pots if you're about to die. And that's pretty much Choo Choo. I'll just explain one last thing about the last phase. 2 things actually. So first of all, the amount of hits Choo Choo takes, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nope, 7. The amount of hits is random. It actually doesn't matter how many times you hit him, as long as you hit him at least 5 times. And he can get hit between 5 and 9 times. So if you get unlucky, you get 9 hits, and you lose the time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nope, 7 again. 7 twice his average. Oops. Alright, so he actually has two patterns he can do here. I think I messed up my save states, so I won't be able to show off the second one. Okay, so sometimes he'll jump once down and then just move up instead of jumping up, and in that case you just want to use your gust jar and slightly move up like that. And then reposition if you need to, because you get stuck against the wall. That's no good. Alright, he starts on the right. And here, we're actually going to pause. So we actually want to make Choo Choo be as close to the middle row right here, but a bit more on top. The reason is after this cycle, we're going to want to move Link right here, which is where the element cutscene is going to put him. So not get hit there. Oops. Okay, let's give an actual good demonstration. Put Link right here. And that way, after Choo Choo blows up, Link doesn't spend, whatever, 2 seconds walking to the middle. He's pretty much there instantly. And then a lot of people split on the white screen here. And that is the first dungeon. Pick up the heart container. and get out of here. One thing I didn't explain, Minish Link has rolls, and he has, sort of has an ending lag to his rolls. But if you roll into something, that ending lag gets cancelled, and you actually speed up a bit, so those of you who like Smash Bros. Tech, that one's for you. Regular size Link doesn't have that sort of mechanic. Alright, so we're out of Minish Village. From here, we're going to want to get bombs. If you forget to get the bombs, you're not going to get very far. And I did the 1 rupee manipulation at the beginning, so that actually means that we can afford to take a little bit of damage. So here we're going to place a bomb here and pick it up. And we're actually just going to walk with it through the rocks, and it's going to hurt us, but that's fine, we're getting health soon anyways. Whoops. Alright, we're lagging a bit. Alright, here's something you definitely don't want to forget. When you're in South Hyrule Field right here, you're going to want to hit up this wind crest. We'll be using it later. Alright, fun little skip here. So actually, I explained earlier, there's spinning the control stick, and then sometimes you just want to go and be like this. The reason is, here for example, I'll spin the control stick, there's a yes and no text box right here. So if you select no on this one, for example, he's going to talk again. That's no. You don't want to do that. But if you're just holding or mashing A and R, you can still get through it pretty fast, and you're guaranteed to not say no there. So every single time there's one of those text boxes, in any percent anyways, you want to select the first option. Ah, I saved, damn it. I want to go through that again. Anyways, not important. So just hold B, mash A and R. I don't want to mash here because I don't want to lose my bombs. Anyways, instead of fusing with him, if you save warp, it's actually a tiny bit faster, about 10 seconds. Or 7 seconds or something like that. Then AB start select to restart. Alright, so we're going to want to get the spin attack. Here's another yes and no cutscene. And another one. So there's 2 in a row right there, so that one can catch people off guard. And here you're going to swing your sword and walk towards the door. It's a bit more optimal. Cuts out a second or so. And be on your merry little way. Watch for that postman. You can actually be pretty close to the edge of the bridge without falling into it, but careful you don't cut it too tight, because you will fall in the water. Alright, now's a good time to explain one of the bomb mechanics. It's called a roll lift. So there's actually 3 different timings to the bomb if you want. You can either place one, or place one and throw it. So see how they blew up basically at the same time. I'll try to... No, that won't work. Okay, what you need to know is that picking up and throwing a bomb makes it explode faster. But then there's another mechanic called a roll lift, which I'll try to explain. I'm not getting it. There you go. So you see how the bomb bounced up a bit? That just means it explodes a bit faster, about a second faster. Like that. It is frame perfect, so if we go through the inputs, you want to be holding a direction, bomb, 1 neutral input, and then 1 roll input. I'm not pressing the right roll button. Alright, well, that was really unfortunate. Let's try that again. Down, 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 bomb, neutral input, roll. And that's going to give you a roll lift. So it is frame perfect, but it does save time. Worst case, you come down the ladder, you try for a roll lift, it doesn't work. You come here anyways. Something like that. So if you get it, great. If not, again, not the end of the world. There are a few places where you can do it without losing too much time. Anyways. We're going to want to equip the shield over the sword. Reflect this guy's nuts. Where you want to be standing is around where this line is. You don't want to get too close again, or else he's going to go down and hit shrub. And buy the bottle. So that's where the first 20 rupees go to. Alright, right here. Bottle over the shields and grab some water. It's slightly faster to take it there. Alright, so here's where we're going to be getting the rest of our rupees for the time being. Alright, so you'll want to grab a bomb and blow up this cave. So here's the last three blue rupees, and also it's a fairy fountain, which is nice. Don't catch a fairy though, because we're going to need the bottle really soon. But anyways, if you actually got a lucky blue rupee like I did earlier, you can just grab 2 of them and then just keep going, which is a tiny bit faster, but nothing to write home about. I did mention roll lifts and all that, but picking up a bomb and walking with it is generally the fastest way to blow it up, since you're actually traveling instead of having to like carry it, throw it, go, catch it, pick it up again, etc. That being said, if you shrink too fast here, the rock isn't going to blow up, and then you need to unshrink and blow up the rock, so make sure you don't do that. But once you see the explosion, this rock is gone for good. Oops. Grab some green water. I'm not sure if my microphone is picking this up, but my Xbox controller is making a squeaking sound. There's a 20 rupee right there that we ignored earlier. So if you're facing down and you slash your sword, you'll get it. If you're facing right, it doesn't work. Just slash, get that, and we'll be on our way. It's faster than going up the vines. So here, if you throw the bomb right up against this wall, you can actually roll into this door without taking damage. Right here, it's optimal to select the gust jar and the green water. If you're new, you might not want to do that, because if you do dump the green water out, you need to backtrack to get it, which is not favorable. You will be feeling blue, as they say. So again, watch for these little triggers. There are a few on the mountain. And this one you can skip. So what I do to skip is I mash R and B, rather. That makes it so that it's possible you save a few frames, so you can cancel it with the B or R button. Pick up the bean and walk down. There is a chance that the pesto block your way here, so I got lucky here, but let's say they are blocking your way. You can actually throw the bean at them. Oops. Except it's getting blocked by a bit. Alright, let's go over that again. The pestos are in your way, you can throw the bean at them, and that kills them, which is pretty great. Yeah, don't be afraid to kill those if they get in your way, because as you saw, they can just drain a lot of damage from you really fast. Alright, so water. Oops. So in this, oops, I guess I should explain that. In this section, you will most likely take a lot of damage, so do be wary of enemies and stuff. As you saw, spoilers, you can actually get this mushroom from the lower layer, and that's because this isn't actually a lower layer, it's just an illusion. You can do that. Get this guy out of the way, and you want to pull all the way back. That was actually one of the first tricks found in this game. Here you can skip jumping into the second tornado by just being a little lower than it, and then we'll keep going. Alright, so right here, go with the shield and the bombs. And if you throw something at enemies, most of them die pretty fast. Oh, try and make it. That would have been a good time to roll it, by the way, if you guys want to try it. Anyways. In this section you have 2 spare bombs, so if you miss 1 or 2, it's not getting killed. If you are low on bombs, actually, this is a good segue here. I'll just save so I can go back to normal bomb count after. This cave actually has a ridiculous amount of bomb drops. Okay, well 3 is still a lot. Anyways, we'll keep going as if we didn't do that, but if you are low on bombs, consider that. Alright, we'll keep going left here. And if you're low on health, so right now I actually can't see my health, which is awkward. There's a hidden cave right here, which has a heart piece in it, and fairies. So you can restore your health like that. And the reason you would want to do that is because this is crenel wall. If any of these boulders hit you, that's half a heart of damage, and that doesn't feel good. It's random also. Dodging them is not very easy. Well, dodging them if they're coming towards you, rather. You can get lucky and just not get hit. Most of the time you won't get hit, but it is possible you get hit like a few times like that. But that's fine. Alright, here you want to be careful. That's actually a really good example of what can happen. But sometimes you can actually get through this part without the Tektite or the P-Hat bullying you like that. So again, mash R and B. And get through this section. Big misconception here. Ezlo actually says that these raindrops do the same amount of damage as a boulder. They don't. They only do a quarter heart, as opposed to the boulder's half-hearted damage. Alright, there's not much to explain about this rock puzzle, just make sure you don't push the rock into the corner, but hopefully your reaction time is better than a second and a half. That being said, if you do mess something up, you need to shrink and then grow again, and that'll just reset the room. Another block puzzle. The second half of Mount Crenel is a lot of block puzzles, so just do as I do and enjoy the low chance of dying action. Alright, so here we are going to want the Gust Jar, which should still be equipped. Yes. Or is it the bombs that are still equipped? One of these is already equipped, if you didn't equip the sword to kill the Tektite. Anyways, if you just stand here and you blow the Gust Jar, there's actually a chance that you you hit the Helmasaur right there. Oops. So if you do this, for example, he's going to block your Gust Jar, and that's no good. If you just hug the pot to the left, you'll be fine all the time. He might block your path, but just roll through him. So again, hug the pot to the left and you're fine. Here, drop a bomb, pick it up, and you'll want to throw it right when you get to the bridge. The timing is pretty tight. Normally I don't fail it. I would like to play the controller. Anyways, if you have trouble with that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the rolling and then just going from here. It gives you an extra little time to not mess up the bomb throw. Okay, so there's been a few route changes, so I'll just cut the video when applicable and then keep going. So if you see anything like rupee counts being different, that's totally normal. Anyways, we're gonna grab this pot that has 20 rupees in it and keep going with the rest of the mountain. Which is easier than I made it look. Something to practice. Alright, last little section before we get a heart refill, so especially careful here if you're at like half a heart or a quarter heart, because the bulldozers have erratic patterns. Alright, we're going to talk to the blacksmith. He's going to fuse your sword while we go get another emerald. Wow. Element. Alright. So we're in the second dungeon now. This is the last quote-unquote easy part before things get a bit more complicated. If you're really low on hearts, there are 2 hearts in these pots and 2 hearts in these pots. You can actually get them with the gust jar and then just back up a bit so that both pots break. You can get 2 hearts like this, and same thing on the other side if you need it. But anyways, we got 2 hearts here. And you'll equip the sword and the shield. Most people prefer sword on B, that is what I recommend. Alright, so these enemies can troll you a bit. If you need to, you can use your bombs. It's totally okay. Shield these guys. And one thing you can do, and only do this, how can I explain it? Only do this if they're against a wall or if they're close enough to a wall. So you can slash your sword, and then keep it pulled out. That way they die in one hit. I don't know if you can... Oops. We'll go frame by frame. You see Link's sword out, and that does enough damage to kill them. If they aren't at a wall, so let's say... that's a bad example. Okay. So you go like this. You don't want to walk like that, because that is a tiny bit slower. Good pretext. So 99% of the time, you will pick up a green rupee sometime in the run. You don't need it, but it's not worth trying to avoid the text box every single time you say green rupee. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but I would recommend you pull up to full hearts before starting this dungeon, especially if you're new. Alright, 3 bomb drop from the middle pot. The other 2 are random drops. I like to hit this guy here. That way he doesn't show up later to mess us up. After that, you're going to equip the gust jar, and you're going to get one of these bombs and throw it to the door right here. The helmet sword fight can be a bit tricky at first. You can use the gust jar to kill them basically. And this is probably the easiest way of going about it. So either getting the mask off and then killing them. Same thing as with the spiny, the turtles with spikes, I forget their names. If you slash a sword and then hold it out, that kills them. If you are fast enough, you can actually get the 3. It is luck dependent whether or not you can get the first one. And you can also always hit them from the back as per typical Zelda convention. I'll try to get the first one. No, it's not happening. But anyways, if you really need to, just use the gust jar on their mask. Makes it a lot easier. Oops. Alright. So path is pretty straightforward. There are very few places you can go wrong here. Alright, there's actually a cool trick here. Not many people do it, but if you're really close to the fire on the top here, you can actually just roll through it. And you'll get hit once, but it lets you get to the portal faster. If you don't want to do that, just go around and go up the portal. And taking damage is bad, but saving time is good, so use your judgment. Use whatever you feel like is appropriate for your skill level. Okay, so I'm gonna note this out now. Remember this chest for later. We'll be talking about it later. And after that, just if you can't push them with your sword, you can still just pick them up and throw them into the hole. The roller bits. So do that. Alright. And we have our first smoky. So middle pot again, because you want to refill your bombs all the way to 10. Oh my. Oh my. That shouldn't happen. There is, I believe it's this pot. Yeah. I don't believe in the other pots there are extra hearts. No, okay. So the rightmost pot, there's an extra heart if you need it. Okay. Coming up is the Spiny Chew fight. I'll show you guys what it should look like, and then we'll go over it step by step. Wow. Okay, I messed it up, but you guys got the gist of it. So there's a really easy setup that if you just hug this wall and then use the gust jar, that actually sets you up perfectly. You can't do that. Jump down. And that sets you up perfectly to hit this spin attack. For those who didn't notice, what I did there was if you're mashing sword one way and then you change direction, the thing doesn't actually move. So you can jump down, do this, charge your spin attack, and spin when they fall. If you don't want to do that, you can roll, and you want to have Link's hand, where's my mouse? Yeah, Link's hand right here, to be right on the edge of this this explosion bit here. Okay, well. So Link's hand's right on the edge, and like that. If you are too low, that's actually not the end of the world. So like, let's say you're down here. You can actually still kill this guy before you kill the second guy. And you have enough time. Oops. Okay, well, one down with the fight right. You still have enough time to do the rest of the fight appropriately. Alright. So, after this, just stand in front of this guy and slash your sword. If you get too close to the side over here, these guys will go into their spikes, and that's not something you want. So really make sure you're more to the right of that. And after that, you are going to charge a spin attack, and you're going to stand right on the bottom corner of... You're going to stand on the bottom corner of this little square right here. Spin attack, hit, stand on the bottom corner, And when they start jumping at you, that's when you want to release your spin attack. Oh my. Now, so when the first one starts, I missed that one, but you guys get the point. If you do end up missing it, right when they they go in their spike balls, right when they cancel that, you can hit them, or if they jump towards you, there's a few frames before they land, you can hit them as well. So just get used to doing that in case you mess up the fight. As you saw, it's not a completely free fight. So just get used to that, and the fight should go pretty well most of the time. But that is definitely a fight where you'll want to practice your positioning. After that, you get the cane. We'll leave that at that. If you need hearts, first of all, we need the cane. But there are 2 hearts right here, so I'm actually just going to grab one, and then we'll keep going. And watch for the Eslo trigger right here, you don't want to roll into it. Fun little speed trick, if you hug the right side and you use the cane, you can actually hit that minecart right through the door. Also important here, if you're on the edge and you're pushing this, you can actually jump back into the cart, so really make sure you're on the left side here when you push the chest. Get another small key, and we'll be on the road. Oh, one thing I didn't mention. So R is obviously to roll, R is also to grow. If you shrink on some portals, you're going to walk away and you're going to press R2 fast, and then you're going to get sucked into it. So really make sure on the top right that it doesn't give you the 3 symbols like that, it gives you the 4 symbols more like that. So you see the first one that's sort of like a... Oh, it's a little bit numb. Looks like a guy. I don't know Japanese symbols, I'm sorry. So if you see that one, don't press R. Here though, if you are fast enough, you can get past the first 2 pretty seamlessly, and then the second 2 right after that. So right here, we're going to take half a heart of damage to go fast, all in the name of speed. But do make sure you have enough health here. If not, just take it slow. If we roll through these enemies and then roll again right after, we can actually just skip past them. It is possible you get hit twice by the same trap. If that happens, just lose more health, but you still get past them fine. So that's fine. Alright, so this is where the new glitch comes in, actually. So we're just gonna head over to this room. I'll explain it quick, and then we'll see exactly how it works. Let's just get these guys out of the way. Alright, so the important bit is basically, if you exit a hole like this one, on a diagonal, so like look at Link's hair for example, it's to the right instead of the left. And also if you look, his animation's like half reversed, sort of weird. And then if you're walking normally, like his hair flips back to the other side. It's actually important because that is going to be applied for what we're about to do. It actually works on every single direction. So if you're looking to the right, then it's down right, and that'll be the, well, in quotations, flipped thing. Only down has the flipped animations. But up left, same thing, and up right, same thing, facing up. Up left, obviously facing left. So what that does, there's a few different applications for it. So let's say, for example, we use the cane, and then re-enter the hole. You can see Link, okay, it doesn't do it here. On a normal ledge, Link's actually going to jump on a diagonal instead of jumping straight up or down, or left or right, which actually we're going to be seeing in the 5th dungeon. But more importantly, let's get these guys out of the way. So if we go here, and I'm holding down right here, and then I'm still holding down right, and we're going to, okay, I messed it up, holding down right, grab this, we're sort of displaced, and also we can pull the lever on a diagonal. And that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to use this lever to clip out of bounds and get out of there, basically. So the way you want to set this up specifically is slash these guys, slash this guy. You want to throw one to the last hole. If you miss, you're going to get a second one. Nothing bad there, just don't worry too much about it. And then you're going to use the gust jar. And you're going to line up this roll a bit and push him into the wall, sort of where this pillar is. It's good enough. This pillar or a bit to the right is fine. He's going to be stuck there, he can't move. So we're just going to stun this guy, and holding down right, and still holding down right, we're going to grab, and we're going to pull 6 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carefully don't get hit too much. Push it all the way up, and I'm actually too far to the... I put the roll a bit too far to the right here, so that's... we're going to have to push it to the left, that's fine. One thing I forgot to mention, if you start moving in any direction other than the direction you were holding, you're going to lose it, unless you use an item that doesn't move you, so like a sword, for example. So we can pull this one once more, and then we're going to go facing up and grab it, and like that we get damage boost, and we're out of bounds. So that's something you will want to practice. Sometimes with this guy, he's a bit finicky. But anyways, from here, you just go up. Okay, I thought I screwed that up for a sec. And we can actually walk out of bounds all the way here. I messed up. Okay. That's what it's supposed to look like. If you go too far to the left, you soft lock. So let's run it back. I'll do it as if I was going fast this time. So push this guy here. Stun this guy. Oops. Okay, messed that up. That's fine. Just gonna get rid of this guy. You don't want to throw this guy in the top hole because you actually do need that top hole. So I got to 3 last time, so we're just gonna pull 3 more times. Never mind. I screwed up. It's not gonna let me do it. Alright. So obviously you want to do the 6 pulls without stopping if this Immaculate Showcase teaches you anything. Oops. Let's get rid of these guys again. Gonna hold down right. Grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push all the way up. Slash your sword to keep the angle. Pull it out once, and then hold upright and just grab the pillar when you can. And actually got pushed into the next room, which is nice. Alright, so if you keep walking here, there's an invisible wall, that's great. Just walk straight right. And obviously, as you saw earlier, you don't want to go too far to the left, so actually just hug up against the boss door and you'll get it every time, and that's fine. And then here we're going to grab a fairy. That's going to be important for later. If you need the fairy, it's fine. There should be hearts, or not. Okay. If you need health, there should be hearts in this room, basically. And then you can get to the boss. Alright, so here's Rock. It's pretty simple. You hit his back with the cane, and then you slash his gem with the sword. So one thing that you can do is stand on one side of him so that his head gets out of the way, because you can't hit through his face or neck. I'm gonna sit right here. If I just try to go on the right here and then go, it's not going to work. Really need to make sure his face is out of the way. So again, let's wait to one side. The tension. That was pretty close, but it still worked. And then, nice. I'm actually going to miss the cycle because it's 8 hits. 5, 6, 7. I missed the cycle. That's embarrassing. So here it doesn't matter if you're slashing your sword, if you're just holding it out in front of you like this. It still only takes 8 hits either way. One other little, very, very minor speed tech is that if Gleerock's head falls towards the top, it falls faster. So for the second and third phase, we do want him to be facing up when we hit him. It's not the end of the world if he isn't, but... And then also important, if he is breathing fire and you slash it while it's in the air, nice. It will get dispelled. Alright, so you saw me on fire there. There's two things you can do. Either you mash the D-pad, because every input makes it less long, basically, to dispel the fire. Or you can go, well, I can't show it off right now, or you can go and jump in the fire. You'll take a bit more damage, but it also dispels the fire pretty fast. Oops. So, like, let's say I just go like this, and now we're good to go. So he's facing down, not the end of the world. Careful rolling into this fire because you don't want to die. And that's Glee Rock. It's as simple as that. I'll just show what happens if you do miss a cycle, because it's pretty easy. So you go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you miss the last hit, or you don't get there fast enough or something. He just comes up. Well, there's a rock phase, and then he comes up, and he doesn't breathe fire or anything. He just I totally lied. Buddy. Anyways, you have as many hits as you had remaining anyways, so it doesn't take any much longer once you get him down. Okay, slashing the sword while he's breathing fire, it dispels it immediately. Creates a nice little barrier around you. Mash the D-pad. Don't get like chained into fire, because that's not a good feeling. These fire things can drop hearts, by the way. They can also drop hearts when you walk into them, which is pretty funny, but I wouldn't count on it too much. There we go. The last cycle is 5 hits. 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get the emerald. And that is dungeon number 2 completed. We're gonna get the heart container and skedaddle. Alright, so I changed the layout a little bit so you guys can actually see the hard counts and stuff like that. But anyways, after Cave of Flames, we're gonna jump down to the right here, and we're gonna want to shrink. So right here we need to pick up the sword that we dropped off earlier. If you forget this part, you're gonna keep on going all the way down Mount Crenel, gonna get back to the castle, and you're gonna realize you don't have the sword, and it's gonna be a bad time. And I think most people do that their first runs, so make sure you're not one of them. I definitely did. Anyways, grab the sword. You're gonna jump back down. Climbing down Mount Crenel is pretty easy. You just go down until you can't go down anymore, and then you go right until you can't go right anymore. Go right here, there's a wall, go down, go right, go down. And eventually you'll be back at the beginning. Alright, so we're gonna head back to the castle. We will want to hit the Wind Crest on the way, so it's right here before we go to North Hero Field. Let's just talk to this guy. Wow, okay. And watch out, there are two Octoroks here that can give you a little bit of damage. Careful right here, right before you enter, there is an Nuzlocke cutscene, so you don't want to go into that one. Alright, and you're going to press R to drop the sword in the pedestal. Alright, so there's a weird mechanic here that you need to charge your sword here. If you just hold B here, you're not going to be able to because the sword hits the stone slab there. So you need to either left or right, or down, and then charge your sword like that. And make clones. There's no way to skip this little tutorial. But anyways, you're going to roll down, and sort of like we did when we learned the spin attack. Oops, nice movement. You're going to start charging your sword and then start walking down. So what I normally do anyways is you start here, roll down twice till you're about at the corner of this pedestal, and then charge your sword and walk down. And normally that gives you a really good timing to get on that first cloning portal pile. We're gonna leave the same way we came. And there's a little mini boss fight. So there's a few strats for this one. The slowest strat is like half a second slower than the fastest strat, so I'm just going to teach you guys the slowest strat because it's ridiculously easy. Just save the state. So what you want to do is walk down, click to the right, look up and slash. And that's all there is to it. Hold down until you get to the rocks, click to the right, slash, slash, slash. They take 3 hits each. And then after that you just roll towards the middle, so that Link spends less time walking to it. Same thing as end of bosses and all that. Alright, in this section there's a few cutscenes back to back, but none of them are particularly long, and after this section there's like none until the end of the game. Alright, so we're going to go back to the cave where we got the bottle originally, because there is a big block that we can push with the new clone. So for here, you're going to want to fuse on the bottom tile and then move up. That just makes you go a bit closer to the ladder to exit, so it saves a bit of frames. And one last cutscene. Alright. Okay, so this part, there are moblins with lances. If they hit you with the lance, you take a part of damage. You don't want that to happen, because you will lose health very, very quickly. If you like roll into their body or something, it does a quarter heart, that's fine. So here you're going to want to read the sign, and that activates the next quest, which is the Pegasus Boots quest. If you slash the sign, it will break, and that sucks. If it does break, all you need to do is go into Castor Wilds and go out. You don't need to trigger an Ezreal cutscene, you don't need to drown in the swamp water. So either read the sign or go to Castor Wilds. if you break the sign by accident, which happens. It's happened to me like 2 over the past 5 runs, which is really unfortunate. Alright, so you're gonna enter the shoe shop. And you're gonna fuse. Here's the last fusing cutscene that we need to watch. You're going to talk to either of these 3 Minish. Some people talk to this one, some people talk to this one. It doesn't matter. They all say the exact same thing. Now, on Wii U, here, you're going to want to equip the bombs and then save and quit. But on emulator and Game Boy Player, and 3DS, I think, you're going to want to just exit out. The difference is like 2 seconds, I think, but it is faster on Wii U. And you're going to leave. If you're on Wii U, you'll end up back at the beginning down here. And regardless of what version you're on, you're going to want to go up. And remember, you equipped the bombs on Wii U already, but here you'll want to equip the bombs in the cane. And blow up these rocks. If you just stand still and throw a bomb, it's going to blow up the bottom rock, which is ideal. Now, one thing I didn't mention, in most cases, it's more optimal to use the cane to break pots and stuff, as opposed to just picking them up and throwing them. This is the one exception, so it's actually a little bit faster to pick up the pot and throw it towards the portal to get the key. Just because it cuts out on travel time and whatnot. But most of the time you'll see me using the cane when the cane is equipped to break pots and all that. Oh, nice lag. Alright, here there's not much to go on about, you just get to this part. And use the windmills. Wow. Tornadoes. For these tornadoes, just hold straight down, there's nothing really you can do to speed it up. Alright, so we're gonna go to Syrup's Hut right here. We're gonna buy the Wake Up Shroom, so this is another one where you want to mash A and R, because there's a yes and no text box there. That's the last of the rupees that we will need for the run. Cane, as I mentioned before, it's 9 frames faster for those of you who like that kind of information. And we're just going to go back to the shoe shop. Alright, so here there's Neslo trigger, so don't roll into that one, but if you just roll and hold up and mash R, you'll activate the shoe shop cutscene right away. And we have the Pegasus boots. Cool. So next you'll equip the nice sword and boots. So one thing to note is that Pegasus boots do have a bit of a startup time before you start running. The rule of thumb is if you need to do 3 rolls or less, it's better to just roll around as opposed to using the Pegasus boots and then like going somewhere else. So rolling is still useful. Don't just use the Pegasus boots wherever you are, especially if you're going like short distances. That's wasting time. Regardless, we're gonna exit here and gonna use the Pegasus boots. Make sure you don't actually hit the postman, because if you do run into an NPC, they stop you immediately, even if you run to like the side of them. So anyways. Roll once, and then boots to the left. And try not to take damage here. There are a few enemies in your way. And try to avoid those. Alright, that happens. And we're in Castor Wilds. So right here, there's an Ezreal cutscene, as a trigger rather. You can actually just walk around it by just going down and using boots. So that saves a few seconds. And you're gonna go through this cave. And we need to get 3 golden kinstones here. So this one's the first one that we're getting. Okay, so coming up we have the Darknut fight. I'm gonna show, I'll show a few different strats, but there's definitely one that I recommend over the other, which is the first one we're gonna show. Anyways, we'll come into here. So easiest way to do this is just hug this wall and then just wait till he charges, or doesn't attack, and then you can just slash and then slash to the side like that. So that is relatively easy. The timing is a bit, it's hard to get at first, but with enough practice you can get it pretty easily. Slash, just the wall again, and sometimes you will get hit, but not the end of the world. And as you saw right there, you can actually open the chest before it appears, and that saves a bit of time. Once more. There you go, just like that. There's also another attack that he can do. I'll do this until I get it right. But basically he can charge down at you, which in that case you just... Nope. Which in that case you just basically bonk into the wall again and slash him 4 times. I'll try to get it here. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then open the treasure chest. So I recommend learning that method. It is the speed to consistency ratio is the best one. You can also roll behind him, and depending on what he does, react like that. If you're really having trouble, the other option is to equip the shield. Oops. And wait till he does a horizontal slash. Not like that. Not like that. Oh my god. This one, and then just attack like that. It's significantly slower, wouldn't recommend it, but if you're really having a lot of trouble, this would be the way to go. It is a lot slower. Alright. Anyways, once you do that, you can skedaddle out of here. And continue on with Castor Wilds. So up these vines to the right, left, left. And we do need to pick up the bow, so we're gonna shrink here. So I didn't mention this earlier, but the lily pad sections, they sort of have a weird mechanic. So you're gonna equip the gust jar and the bottle. Alright, so again, route change, same thing with the rupees. There's a bit of an inconsistency here. We actually don't get water here anymore. You don't need water at all. So just skip bottling water. You should still have your fairy in a bottle. If you don't, again, not the end of the world. I'll show a backup later, but you don't get water here. But anyways, if you're... Okay, first of all, you're going to want to be on the complete right side just to avoid all the flowers. If you're going in a direction, you see me just, going up at a consistent speed. Let's just save here. Oops. Anyways, if I were to blow perpendicularly to the direction I'm going, so like this, you actually get a little boost. It's not super obvious, but it does save a bit of time, so I want to do that. But anyways, 1, 2, 3, 2 to the right, few down. You do need water, so pick up water here. Nice, okay. I don't want to blame the controller, but the controller's acting up a bit. And just like that. So you get water, you get your gust jar, and that's about it. You're going to want to equip the sword and the boots here. And then roll into this cave. And these enemies all take 3 hits. The bad thing is, if they hit you, they do half a heart damage. You don't want to get bullied too much, because right after this part, we're gonna set up a manipulation, and you can't be in critical health for this one. So if I'm beeping right here, it's not gonna work out. So you want to make sure you don't do that. So if you need to play it safe, just like inch towards them and slash a sword, that's fine. Yeah. But this fight is somewhere where a lot of people can save a lot of time if you sort of can learn to read their movements and push them into walls. They will rarely drop hearts, but if they do, just pick them up, and that's great. Anyways, we already have our equips for the next section, which is the sword and boots, so you can just save and quit. And this is manipulation number 2. Alright. So this one is fairly simple, so just mash start and A. You're going to start, and you're going to hold up left, and while you're doing that, as fast as you can, once you start moving, you're going to slash twice. You're going to come up here and slash your sword and charge it, and break this bush, and then spin attack. And that's going to give you 2 kinstones. So again, you start here, hold up left, slash twice, break these, poke the next bush, and then you're going to spin attack at a specific time. So the time you want to spin attack is you're going to look at the bar up here. Okay, my mouse is here. And you're going to want this green section to be as close to this lineup of rocks as you can. So this actually is not close enough, so we're just going to wait a bit, wait a bit, wait a bit, and release here. Anyways, if we do it in real time, so mash start in A. One thing I actually didn't mention before is that this section does advance RNG, so you do want to mash through that as fast as possible. So in start, slash. Alright, so I got a kinstone. And wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. And we got 2 kinstones. You saw I got a... Oops, nice. You saw I got an arrow drop as well. It's either going to be an arrow drop, a rupee, or nothing. And then in the first bush, it's going to be a green kinstone. And the timings are a bit different depending on the drop that you get, but for the most part, you still just want to aim for that, that green... the green lineup that I showed. Because they'll have a few overlapping frames for you to get both kinstone pieces. So the ones that you have just gotten are a second one of this one, and the first one of this one, and we got this one and the first one of this one back in Cave of Flames. So once you do that, as you saw, there's an Ezreal trigger right here, so you'll want to just go straight down. Oops, this is real. Straight down, use the boots, and climb up the first set of vines. We're gonna go up, and right, and equip our bow. So there's another Ezreal trigger right here. So what you want to do once you get down the vines, you're going to go to the right a bit, left, you're going to go to the left a bit, and then roll right, so you don't roll into the trigger. Oops. Dash like this. And this is our second golden kinstone. Okay, so another route change. This one is for more kinstones, since route change. After this, you're actually going to equip the sword again, and we're actually just going to do the exact same manipulation that we did earlier. 2 things that I'm pretty sure I forgot to note. Honestly, I didn't go back to check the video, but let's pretend that I forgot to note these things. So first of all, your rupee count, you need to have 11 or more, because if not, that changes the drop rates. And also you need to have more than 1 1/4 heart. So if you have 1 1/4, no good, 1 1/2, you're good. If you do have 1 1/4 or less, you can just walk against this thing till you die, and then do it again because you had a fairy, and then save and quit, and then do it that way, but hopefully you have more health than that. Anyways, exact same manipulation, slash, grab this guy, wait for the green bar, and release. And you need that second kinstone the second time, so you need the GP, which is the one that sort of looks like a piece. So you need this one 2 times. This one you only need 1, but there's a different manipulation that's a bit faster, but we'll just stick to 1 manipulation for now, just to make things easier on you guys. Anyways, avoid this Ezreal trigger again. Going to go up the first set of vines. Oops, run to the left. And from here, and then the rest from here is the same as the video. Just here. One thing I forgot to mention about the boots is that if you hold the opposite direction, so I'm going left here, if I press right, it will cancel it. So be careful if you're like, depending on how sensitive your controller is, if it has snapback. Okay, mine doesn't right now, but if you accidentally, flick the control stick and it gives you a down input, let's say when you're going up, you will cancel the boots. Make sure that doesn't happen. Roll through these guys. I didn't mention it, but I'll show it at the next one. Okay. So these guys, once their eye opens, once their eye... Sorry, I have a little cough. Once their eyes start to open, so like this, you can roll right through them. So you don't need to wait for them to start jumping towards you. Where is this? This, oops, and roll through. Okay, well, that was a bad example, but... Okay, you can actually do it a bit earlier than that, but they do half-hearted damage, so maybe try playing it safe for now. Until you see the eye completely open, and then just roll through as you normally would. Equip the sword back there, you're gonna need it coming up. And yeah, drops in this section are really weird. You rarely get any hearts or rupees. But it is possible, so count yourself lucky if you do. And we're gonna run across the swamp to fuse our first few kinstones. So a lot of people who are on Wii U or Game Boy Player, normally they'll use the stick to move, and then for things like this section, for example, or when you pause to equip items, they'll use the D-pad instead. You can't actually see the difference right now, but trust me on this one. And the D-pad just makes things a bit more accurate to select the right items. But again, it's all up to preference. So these guys, same concept. Once they get up, nice, you can roll right through them. Like that. Then it's all the way down. And then here you just want to activate these guys and then roll away. You don't need to roll towards the lever since it's Link starts closer to the lever than he needs to exit, if that makes sense. Using the boots here is very slightly more optimal. Alright, so this fight's pretty easy. You want to roll up and then mash right and B. Wow. Get inside. Alright, hopefully we won't screw that up anymore. So anyways, roll up, right. Oops, it was actually too fast. The second one, or the one to the far left, he jumps at a random time. So, that's cool. One other thing that I forgot to mention, this is the only item that it does this with, but if you roll and then press the B during the ending of the roll, Link is going to slash automatically. Anyways, you can use that to just hold it right and slash a sword. And the reason they do that is because one of the special techniques is the roll attack, I think, roll something, where you just like go with your sword in front of you. Anyway, that's why it's there. But it's a good mechanic for that fight to know. So we're gonna make a little path. If you need to kill the first rope, you can. The second one isn't as useful. And these blades of grass don't grow back when you go Minish, so you can just use them to skip a little section right there. Shrink here. So we need to deactivate that guy, or else he gets in the way. Right, these guys take 2 hits, or 1 hit and 1 poke with your sword. Like that sort of. There's a few ways. So you need to kill the 3 rope snakes and then the 2 rock beetles, so these guys. There are 2 ways of doing that. You can either get close enough to... either get close enough to them to pick up the rock and throw it at them, but the distance where you have to be is pretty precise, and it is possible that you try to like grab them and then walk into them and take damage, and that's bad. If it is a bit of a struggle at first, that's fine. You can use the cane. Oops, once they're down. You can use the cane and then just go like that. Nope. Oh my. This is going sour very fast. Anyways, cane. Grab a heart. Like that. I prefer this method, it's the one I'm more comfortable with, but either one's good. For newer players, if you like the cane, it's totally fine. And then, one last thing to enter this dungeon quickly, there's a little wall here. If Link goes up against a wall at a specific like place, for example, so here, if he's too far to the right, he's not going to make it, but if we're here, and we just go up, Link sort of goes to the side. That's important, because if you use that with the boots, and then you start holding left, nice. Most of the time, a very small amount of times you'll bonk there, but most of the time you'll just run through it like that. Alright, Fortress of Winds. Gonna go to the right door. And here you're gonna want to roll through the spark guy. And then you can kill this guy with the skull. He does in 1 hit, which is nice. But if he jumps over it, that's fine. You don't care about it that much. If you are fast enough though, cycle like this. So if you're fast enough, you can just go like that and roll through him like that. If not, let's just do it one last time. So the timing is pretty tight for that. So let's say you take, I don't know, a little extra time here. You can either just wait for him to pass and then go through, or if you're like just missing the timing, one thing you can do is just go up here and then go through him like that. So anything like that's fine, as long as you get through it without taking damage. That's the important part. Alright, so this section is pretty easy. There are a few skulls here. They're gonna start moving, you can just slash them. You're gonna pick up this skull, activate this guy, and then hit him, and then slash him twice, and on the second slash, just hold out your sword to charge a spin attack. Throwing skulls, like I saw before with the stealth pose, basically does a lot of damage. Does two equivalents of a sword slash. It's the easiest way to get around that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want your clone to step on the left button, and then move right, and for some reason it works. It does not work if you go from right to left though. Alright, so we're actually going to come back here and do this section again later. But the first time you want to make sure you activate this guy. The second time you don't have to, but the first one you do. And we're going to hit him, and he's going to move. If he, for some reason, doesn't move, he does take 4 sword hits. Get out of the way. But in either case, you're going to pull this lever. And fall down. Alright, so we're gonna go back in the room right here. And if you need hearts, there are hearts in these drops, and they respawn every time you exit and leave. So if you need a few more, just grab as many as you need. After that, we will equip the bow over the sword. one mechanic that I haven't mentioned yet because it wasn't relevant earlier is that if you're using the bow, there's going to be a bit of a cooldown. It shoots his arrow and then takes a second before you can walk again. You can actually cancel that with the boots. You can shoot the arrow and then press A and then walk. So that just saves a bit of time. Yeah, basically that's it. Arrow boots. If you do use the boots too fast though, Link isn't going to shoot his arrow. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. So wait till the arrow's out of his bow, and then use the boots. So that's important in the coming sections because it does save time. So here, for example, you're going to shoot the Igor, and then use the boots. Go through him, and use the left door. We're not going to go to the right section. If you are on the European version, actually, there is a routing difference here. I'll link an old tutorial in the description if you are on the European version. No, sorry, North American. European and Japanese works here. North American, you need to do the entire dungeon. There's a trick later that you can't do on the North American version. Anyways, run up here. Bow. You're supposed to use the bow and then roll down. And we have another Dark Knight fight. The same concept as before. Slash slash. And he has the exact same moves as the earlier Dark Knight. So you should do the exact same strat. Rolling through these enemies is a bit faster, but if you want to use the long way around because you're low on health, that's totally fine too. We're going to want bombs and hurts here. So refill our bombs. And you can try to roll up here if you want. And get it. And then just go through here. Get the moments, and equip them, and save and quit. Alright. So again, if you're on the North American version, the trick coming up is not going to work. We have the moments now so we can dig through things. Very important, there's a red kinstone in this chest. We're going to want that for later. Oops. Alright, so this time we don't need to activate the Armos. Alright, so we're on the first major glitch of the game, basically, which is the Fortress of Wind's boss key skip. It uses a trick called portal items, which is using items on a portal. So as you saw there, you can do it with a bunch of different things. So you can use your sword, and like there's a weird animation like that. You can use the nice. You can use the cane. It's all good times. You can use the bow. You can use the boots, but that has side effects that we don't want. Anyways, the way you do it is you're going to hold up left on the portal, or up right, depending on which side you want. You can do it here and hold up left. Anyways, I'm going to be on the left side and hold up right. And right at the top, you're going to use the item and then start holding directly right. So not up right anymore, just directly right. So I'll try to frame advance this. Historically, I've been bad at doing this, but up right, use your item, and then during that animation, you can start holding right. So just like that. So in real time, upright. So upright, A, right. Like that. If you start holding right too early, oops, you'll get what's called the slow animation. Basically, you just need to wait it out. There's not much you can do about that. So don't start holding right too early, or else this happens, and you waste a bomb, because we will be using a bomb soon. But upright, A, right. If you don't hold right early enough, then it doesn't work, basically. But that's the gist of it. So if you get this consistently, that's really good. That's what we want, basically. Okay, so once you have portal items down, so nice. Portal items, easy enough. The next step is going to be to place a bomb and get a damage boost off. So what you want to do is you want to be looking up when you face a wall, and then place the bomb. If you're looking left or right, the bomb isn't as high, and the damage boost doesn't reach you, basically, when you're jumping off. So you're going to want to put it up here, and then do your portal items again. Nice. Not like that. After that, you're basically just going to want to pause buffer. I'm going to go frame by frame here, just to show. I didn't mention it before, but you don't want the bomb... You want the bomb to be sort of in line with these lines. It can be a bit more right or more left if you're doing it on this side. It doesn't matter too much, but just make it not behind Link or else you can't see the bomb, and that makes the trick a lot more difficult. But basically, once the bomb starts growing like that, that's when you're going to want to hold up. So you're going to pause buffer until you see the bomb shrink and grow. On the first frame of it shrinking, it's not going to work, but on the next 5 frames after that, it should work, assuming you did portal items correctly. So let's give it a try. Bomb here, portal items, start pause buffering. Okay, so now it's growing. I might be a bit late here. No, I still got it. So if you get popped up like this, super good. From here, you would go left and then up. We'll get to that soon. But if you ever want to practice this and you're not on emulator or something like that, you can just jump down here and try again. Although you're going to want to push this block out of the way first. So I'll just use 6 days. Drop the bomb. Portal items again. Pause buffer. So this is the first frame that it was shrinking. I'm going to try to pause buffer again. And now we should be good. Holding up. And there you go. So yeah, the timing is sort of precise. Definitely takes some practice to put a lot of time into there, and then again you can do whichever side you want, either left or right. Doesn't really affect the trick. This might be too early. Yeah, that's too early. But you can just try again. As long as you have more than half a heart left, you'll be good. Anyways, after that you go to the left. You necessarily want to go left and then up, or else it's not going to work. You're actually going to soft lock the game. If you need hearts, you can grab 1, 2, 3 hearts here, which should be more than enough. And then 2 more notes. So first of all, if you're on the European version, for some reason you need to pause in this room, or else the game soft locks. And also you need to jump down on this door before going up, or else you won't be able to fight Mazal. But once you're there, enter the boss room, and you keep going from there. So save. The reason we want to go left and then up is that if you go straight to the boss room from here, the boss actually just sort of soft locks. Or the boss dies, but you can't move, you can't use items, you can't pause. You can restart the game, I guess, but that's counterproductive. So you want to go to the right, but you also want to jump down the door like I mentioned earlier, because if not, the boss is going to work fine. But you won't actually be able to do anything. Like I can't use my bow on him. He can't hit me either. Yeah, you can't do anything, and you can't like skip the boss somehow. That'd be cool, but not the case. So anyways, what you want to do, you want to go to the right. There's a few heart drops here. Grab them if you need them. Jump down. Necessarily, if you're on the European version, you do need to pause in this room, or else it doesn't work for some reason. Japanese, you can pause earlier or later, that's fine. And then go up here. Alright, so this boss is pretty straightforward. You shoot arrows into the pink eyes, and then you slash it a few times. That. Slash. Don't forget arrow text when you pick it up. Going back underneath is a bit faster since the hand spends less time moving. And then do the same thing as well. So the pillars in his face, they're random. So this one's the back left one. They're random, but it's never going to be the same pillar twice in a row. So on the next, oops, well, that happens. On the next phase, I know that it's not going to be the back left one. For example. Oops, I sort of need to this part. So we're going to equip the moments here. So now there's dirt. And here you can actually see there's... you can see the outline basically of the eye before you hit it. So that's really useful. Secures front and center. And I'll show the other examples after, because you can also sort of see it like on a diagonal. Little trick, you can actually just hold your sword out and walk through them, but that's rarely faster. Alright, so last time it was front and center. This time I know it won't be that, so I can go here. Don't see anything. Don't see anything. Alright, there we go. Oops. Okay. The point is, you can see them basically a few spots down, or and one to the left or right. Alright, let's just do that one more time. So one thing I didn't mention earlier is that for some reason, this is a bit unexplored, but if you're slashing your sword and hitting him, you don't actually take damage. But only when you're hitting him. If I do like this, I will take damage. So if he's taking damage, you can't take damage basically from him. Which is an interesting mechanic to say the least. Alright, so this one's back in the middle. Yeah, you want to avoid that claw as much as possible, but if it picks you up, it's like a second time loss. It's not the end of the world. Standing underneath the fists makes you go down. Quick moments. Oops. Alright, so this one. Sometimes getting lucky like that, but there's not much you can do about it. Yeah, one thing to be wary about in this boss fight is that there are no hard drops. So the pots don't have hearts. And I don't want to take too much damage here. And there you go. So you can see basically just the corner right here. So I can just slash from here. And that'll be that. Alright, so we're in this stone slab. And whoops, we get the Ocarina of Winds, and Zephyr the bird helps us out. Alright, so we get the Ocarina here. And now we're going to focus on the Boomerang quest, so I'll just throw down the cane and the Ocarina. And then we'll go to South Herald Fields. This is the one that you opened at the beginning of the run. If you didn't open this, you'll have to go to Castle Town and then just run down, but that's not the end of the world. Alright, so we're gonna have to go talk to Tingle. So you want to fuse with him first, and then talk to him after. It's a tiny bit faster than talking to him first and then fusing. So I'll just move this. There we go. Alright. So you're gonna have to fuse with all 4 Tingle brothers. It's really important. You do need to talk to him here. So press R. He's going to talk to you a bit. That's important. If you don't do that, the other 3 Tingles don't spawn. After that, we're going to go to Castletown. And here we're going to want to equip the boots and the moments. And we're going to enter this yellow house and fuse with the stranger. So that's going to open a warp for later in the game. We're gonna need to use it. Skips a bunch of stuff. I'm just gonna fast forward this. Just take my word for it. Alright, so here's actually okay to take damage. It's actually preferable because we're going to be abusing a death later. So if you just want to run through some guys, don't worry about it too much if like they're not in the way. Like that's really not your biggest issue. Just something to be mindful of since we will be abusing the fairy that we got way back when. Oops. This guy. Alright, so we do need the magic boomerang, which is what we're getting with the tingle fusions. We need that for the next dungeon to skip the flippers, actually, which is what we're supposed to be doing right now with all the book quest stuff. By the way, I picked up that bush and I jumped down with it. That saves like 4 frames. A little damage here, that's totally fine. Alright, so one thing to remember right here, if you're doing this right anyways, is that we don't have the actual kinstone that we need for the tingle to the left, which is pink. He's over there. You can't see him. Yes, you can. You can see his feet. That guy, we don't have the kinstone for him. Basically, this is the last manipulation. I think it's the last manipulation that I'll show. But anyways, you'll want the boots and the mole mitts equipped, and then you're going to save warp. And I have mitts on A, so that's fine. We're just gonna mash, and all you do is you mash A, and you'll get the kinstone you need. And it's literally that easy. So you just save warp in Lon Lon Ranch, and then you just mash A there, and you'll get the kinstone. That's it's the easiest manipulation we're doing. And it's this one that we got. Alright, from here we need Ocarina Boots. Then we go back to Castle Town. And we're gonna go up. I'm actually just going to take a pause here to explain the next glitch we're going to do, which is the Ocarina glitch. So one of the more famous ones. It was discovered like forever ago. So we need a staircase. Normally it's done on the ones inside dungeons, but they work on pretty much all staircases. Like this one, for example, would work. So the inputs that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to press up, and then the ocarina 1 frame after. So if I go frame by frame, frame by frame, I'm going to hold up for 1 frame, and then I'm going to hold up an ocarina for a frame, and that's it. I'll do the ocarina glitch. So what that does is that, actually, let me just undo it and make a save state, because we will be soft locking the game a few times. So in real time, first try. It is 1 frame in a 60 frame per second game, so if you miss it, you know, it's not the easiest trick to hit. But anyways, everything's frozen. You can walk through enemies, or NPCs rather, and enemies actually. If you do a few things, the game will freeze. If you bonk into a wall, the game is gonna freeze. You can't pause or anything. Oops. That's if you press the ocarina at the same time. If you roll, the game freezes. There's a lot of different things that is going to make the game freeze. So basically, you'll have to keep in mind those things and not do those things. But rolling and bonking are the two more common one. But talking to somebody as well freezes the game. You can also do the ocarina glitch with bombs, I guess, technically. No, I didn't do it. Basically, you just drop a bomb and keep on going up the stairs. There you go, like that. It's useless. And then there's a few other like effects you can do. So in this case, I'm actually pressing the ocarina 1 or more frames too late. There you go. So we can like use the cane and they'll be frozen, and then you can unfreeze with the ocarina again, and they'll all go off at the same time. So, anyways, the important bit is that up and A on consecutive frames. Don't hold up or else something like this might happen. If I can hit the right frame. So like that, for example, I got the ocarina glitch and then I walked up the stairs, so now I don't have the ocarina glitch anymore. But anyways, that's the gist of it. So keep that in mind because we'll be doing that like super shortly. But anyways, you fly here. We're gonna do this and then we're gonna use the ocarina glitch. So we had these as our equips. And basically all you're gonna do is you're gonna walk into these trees and then you're gonna hit the switches. You can take more damage there if you want, but again, we'll be doing that soon. Unfortunately, the first ocarina glitch is the hardest, since we need to do it off of a door and not off of a stairway, which means that if you miss it, you basically have to restart the entire setup, instead of a staircase, which is always there if you miss it, but we'll get to that soon. The ocarina glitch is useful for a few things. So first of all, you can walk over things like voids, you can walk through people, as I mentioned before. If you go up certain staircases that changes your layer, you actually don't go down layers when you walk back down, so that lets you like walk over walls and stuff. We get the boomerang here. We'll get to the ocarina glitch soon enough. And one last thing, so from here you're going to warp to Lon Lon Ranch. If you do, Lake Hylia, not Lon Lon Ranch. If you don't have a ferry, you're actually gonna go to South Hyrule Field, and we'll go get a ferry here. So if you go all the way over here, if you bomb this this rock wall, there's a ferry in there. There's 3 actually, so keep that in mind. Anyways, to Lake Hylia, as I mentioned. So first thing you're going to want to damage yourself, again, jump with the bush, it's a bit faster. You're going to want to damage yourself down to a quarter heart. You might see some people that actually won't pick up the heart container after Mazal, the Fortress of Winds boss. That's because they don't want to damage themselves here. Anyways, kill that guy with either a bush or a sword or whatever. You're going to walk into this house, you're going to equip your boots and bombs, and then you're going to save. Saving is important because we're going to do a trick which involves opening the door, and when I say boots and bombs, I really mean boots and bombs. We're going to do a trick that's going to open this door without having Link enter it, and then we're going to ocarina glitch off of that open door. And they're both frame perfect tricks, and if you miss one of them, you basically have to reset. And if you have your fairy, it's faster to just reset with the fairy in a bottle, and you're already at half a heart, instead of going to get a new fairy and then damaging yourself again to half a heart. That's just really slow. So I'll show 2 different methods at how to open the door. You can choose whichever one you want. The one I use is the setup. So what you want to do is, we're going to frame events again. You're going to want to drop a bomb and use the boots on the exact same frame. So BNA, exact same frame. So I'll do it in real time, just, I'm not a fraud. After that, you hold up after the bonk. You're going to equip the bow, still holding up, shoot an arrow, roll, and then walk into the door. And I messed it up. And I used my fairy, so that happened. That happens if you roll and then your ending of the roll hits the door. I should have stated there. So you want to roll before that anyways, is what I'm getting at. But let's try that again. You can also kill this guy with a bomb if you want. So enter and exit the house, that's important for the setup. I'm going to drop a save state here. So boots and bombs at the same time. Roll and use an arrow. The order that you do that in doesn't matter. And I missed it again, actually. Wow. Good showcase. There you go. So that's what happens. The door opens and you're not walking inside the house. So from there, that's where you're going to want to ocarina glitch off of the house. Just like that. I didn't mention this before, but if you play the ocarina, you disable the ocarina glitch. So now, like, for example, I can roll and things aren't frozen. If you mess up the ocarina glitch and accidentally go in the house, you need to reset because now you don't have your fairy anymore and the door's closed. So let's do that one more time. So, boots and bombs. I don't think that was at the same time, actually. We'll find out. Arrow, roll, it wasn't. Oops, force a habit. I'm just gonna make sure this is at the same frame. Alright. Go, roll, there you go. And then ocarina glitch off of, oops, that. Just like that. And then this lets you walk above the water, so you don't need the flippers to enter the dungeon. The other method is the pause buffer method, well, the Ezla buffer method rather. So if you hold, one sec. So if you hold down shift, Ezla's gonna come up, and you can like match the text, and that's always gonna buffer 2 frames. If you look at the bomb shrinking and growing in a sec. It's not faster. It's faster if you can do it like super optimally, but actually, you probably can't see it's going 2 frames because I'm recording 30 frames per second. The point is, it buffers 2 frames at a time. And as I mentioned, this is a frame perfect glitch, so it is possible that you're buffering on like the wrong set of frames. In that case, you will need to restart it. In this case, I actually got the wrong frames, so. But anyways, I will show you guys the visual cue. Oh my god, this bomb's taking forever to explode. Point is, you're gonna drop a bomb. Gonna face up, then the bomb's gonna go big twice. That was once. This is the second time. Alright. Okay, it's gonna go big twice, and you're looking for a specific frame. I'm gonna try to show it off. One. Okay, so this frame is when the bomb is pretty much at its biggest. After that, there's going to be a frame where it grows and then shrinks again and it looks the exact same size. If you get that exact same size, that means you have it right. Let's see here. So I actually got it right this time. So you saw it go bigger and then smaller on the same buffer. We're going to keep going until the second red frame. Until this one. And then we're going to hold up. And that opens the door. And then same thing, you just equip your ocarina and then you ocarina glitch off of that. And you go to the, nice. And you go to the dungeon. So I'll try to explain it again in case you didn't catch that the first time. One other thing that's really important is that if you're holding a button, so A, B, I think L and R as well, you actually won't be able to go through doors. So do be careful of that if you're like buffering and then you're holding B to like advance the text and then you're trying to go in the door. That's not going to work, and well, it's not going to work. You're not going to go through the door and you're going to die. Your fairy's going to get exhausted. Used. Fancy words. Alright, so let's try again. The bomb's going bigger. Bigger. Got the blue frame. So in this case I didn't get it, so the bomb went to the biggest frame and then went back down. It didn't stay at the same size. So in this case I'm just going to want to enter the door here and then exit, and I get to try again with the buffer method. So that is one benefit of the buffer method, is that if you're... Oops. If you're early, and you notice that you're early, so in this case I'm good. Except I didn't hold... Wow. I was good there, I didn't hold hold select. But one of the benefits is if you are early and you notice that you're early, you don't need to retry basically. So in this case I don't have it, I was actually pulling the speed up button there, alright. But I would have to go back in and out. You get the point. I'll do it one last time in real time. Big. Looking for the correct blue frame. So that was it. The first red frame, second red frame, hold up. I actually missed it. You don't want the bomb to be too far away from you, that is the other thing. Alright, got it again. First red frame. Second red frame. And there we go. Okay, so ocarina glitch. And then you're going to want to run without bonking. So again, if you bonk, you soft lock. If you roll, you soft lock. You're just going to want to use the boots without bonking. Careful about like things like this you can bonk on. Can't hit enemies, can't really hit anything else though. And then before you jump onto the portal for the dungeon, you're going to want to play the ocarina, or else you're going to soft lock. So do that, and enter the dungeon. So yeah, again, use the setup if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, you can use the buffer method. If you use the buffer method, you have a few backups you can do in case you don't get the right frames. So if Zeva picks you up, that actually cancels the freezing factor of the Ocarina glitch, so you can just roll around and life's good. And you can still walk over water, that's fine. So if Zephyr picks you up, that's fine. As long as you have the Ocarina glitch activated, you're good to go. If Zephyr does not pick you up, all these guys are frozen, so you don't have to worry about that. But if he does not pick you up, you need to use the Ocarina here, or else you're going to soft lock the game. And then just jump on the portal, and enter the dungeon. And if you want to just be safe, just use the Ocarina right before the dungeon all the time. And here we go, Temple of Droplets. So one really cool thing about ice mechanics is that you slide around a bunch, but if you slash your sword, or use your shield it's only for like a frame or something. If you slash your sword, you just stop. If you use your boots, you have like 0, you don't slide. So using your boots here is like really optimal because it makes movement a lot easier. I'm gonna head over here and down the stairs. And we're gonna push this lever. You should have the boots and the ocarina equipped from the flipper skip we did earlier. So right here we're actually gonna do another ocarina glitch. So as I mentioned on staircases, works as well. I'm gonna kindly get out of my way. Oh my. So if you want to line it up again, you can either roll into the stairs, or you can just walk up to the side and then like this, and then do the ocarina glitch. So we can walk over pits now. And I mentioned earlier, if you go up a layer, you can't go back down. So now I'm on the higher layer. So basically that means if I wanted to walk all the way here and skip the boss key, we will. But we actually want to get the boss key, so we're going to come this way, and that skips a small key door right here. So we don't use that small key that we haven't gotten yet. Alright, this puzzle's easy. Push left, push down and left, and then just push the key around the room until it gets to the, nice. So I guess the light source. Grab the boss key and save and quit. And we're going to do the exact same thing here. Push up. Oops, nice. One thing that I necessarily forgot to mention, and this is really important, okay, we're just gonna get out of here. This is really important for if you do the ocarina glitch, is if you're holding up or down when you're going like left, for example, you will bonk, and if you have the ocarina glitch activated, you will soft lock. So make sure you're holding neutral when you're going through screen transitions, or else it's gonna soft lock. But anyways, we're gonna fall down this hole, and Ezlo teaches us how to push blocks, even though we've already done it. We're gonna grab the key, head out, and ocarina glitch again. Nice. So this is what happens when you don't practice enough. There we go. Alright, and this is the reason why we got the magical boomerang. We're going to use a trick called boss door clipping. We're going to have the boomerang on the A button, and then the cane on B, that's for something after. And save. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to use the boomerang, and make sure you're not, you don't have it go back to you immediately. You want to make sure it's like well far away. And you're just going to face the door, and you're going to hold the A button. And what that's going to do is it's going to let you go through the boss door, but it's not going to hit you. It's not going to hit the loading trigger. You're just going to walk straight past it. So use the boomerang and hold the A button. until the boomerang gets back to you, and now we're on the other side. Now, basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to the right side over here. And we're going to fight these guys, but there's a door blocking us, and that's no good. So what we need to do, and this is sub-pixel dependent, and that's just a fancy way of saying that this trick sucks, but you're going to want to use the cane. So I'm going to frame advance here. I actually got it on the right time. So right here you can see 4 pixels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a few pixels later, a few frames later rather. Did I miss them? No, there we go. There's 1, 2 here. So if you see 4 pixels and then 2 small ones pop up after that, that's good. If not, it's just going to be 3. So right here, for example, there's only 3 pixels. So that's the only way of telling if you have the right subpixels or not. And you necessarily want to roll into the wall. So you can here link roll. So go down, roll up, you can try. I can get it, roll. Get it, down, up, roll, get it. There we go, so I got it this time. So that's a visual cue that you'll want to learn. And from here, you're going to walk to the right until you screen transition, and hold up and mash start. If you don't mash start, you fall down, and then just keep holding up. And you make it up here. And we're actually gonna, from here, we're gonna go left, so it fades to white, and then go up. And that just makes it so we can jump down here. If not, you do need to play the ocarina, because the ocarina glitch is activated, and that cancels it, so you jump down. This fight is a lot easier than it should be, because we do have the boomerang, which stuns them, but 7 hits to hit them. Ooh, that was good. Yeah, stun them with the boomerang, 7 flurry flashes to hit them, and that's fine. Now there are 2 routes through this dungeon. One of them is if you do the big octo manip, and the other one is if you don't. So I'm gonna teach you guys the one without the manip, because the big octo manip is pretty complicated. Or it is right now anyways, maybe it'll be simplified in the future. So in the plots that are closest to the wall there are hearts, so you can pick those up if you need them. We're going to use the boots here, and we will be taking a bit of damage on purpose, so pick up hearts if you need them. So again, running on ice is very safe in this game, and just running through these traps just makes you go right through them. So you don't get knocked back, you just take a bit of damage and it's fast. And this is where we use a key that we got earlier. If you forgot it for some reason, you need to go up and do a little puzzle and get a key over there. But don't forget the key. Oops. Alright, return of Big Green Choo Choo, but this time he's not green. So, the exact same thing as the earlier fight, but you can't use the Gust Bear when he's electric. So you just need to wait around a bit, and if he stops for like a period of time like that, he's gonna jump. He moves, he moves, he moves. So jump. And you have enough time to react to him, so that's fine. And same thing, he starts on the left, so you're gonna want to stand on the left. Make 7 hits, that's average. Alright, he's stopping, so he's just gonna jump. Stopping again. I'm actually really lucky here. Nice. Alright, Spirit's on the right. We're gonna stand on the right side. Seven again. You're perfectly average. This is when you do need to wait for him to jump 5 times because he doesn't drop his electric ball earlier. If you spin attack here, facing downwards, it is a tiny bit faster. And you're going to want to stand right under the chest. which is sort of having its feet where the light ends. And we have the lantern, which we need exactly twice. Boots and ocarina, and then save and quit. We're gonna set up another ocarina glitch. We're gonna head to the blue portal. There we go. One thing I didn't mention earlier because I didn't have the chance. If you jump down like this, that will soft lock the game. So don't do that. Make sure you're well in the middle of the stairs and you can use your boots. And in the dark room, you want to go to the left. Nice. So again, once you screen transition, you can roll, you can bonk, you can do whatever you want. And that's totally fine. So go left. So my lineup right here is where there's this line, just follow it like that. If you go too high, you'll be in the wrong room, and I guess you could go down after that, but that does waste screen transition time. Necessarily here though, you do not want to go up, because just the way the dungeon layout is made, if you go up here, you'll end up back here, you'll lose your ocarina glitch, and recovering from here is pretty hard, especially without the flippers. You save warp, basically. But anyways, one more screen to the right, then one up, and when I said right, I meant left, and then one to the left. So we're in the same room we were earlier, just on a higher level. You need to play the ocarina before you jump down, or else you can't jump down. Damn it. And then use the boots. I roll through these guys, because they do half a heart damage. Oops. And we're already at the second level. Alright. So the two pots rather closest to the wall on the left there have hearts in them, so pick those up. And we're gonna fight Big Octo. So without the manipulation, it is a bit rough. But basically the first two cycles are consistent, and the second one is, the third one rather, is random. The first one he just always shoots rocks. And there are a few things you can do here. You can either go around him, use the boots, and then, oops, this is not going to work. Then equip the lantern and light him up. Or you can just go to the left, wait till he starts turning, and then use the boots. So whichever one you find more comfortable to light up the tail is... You're gonna use that one. Okay. So we're sliding here, so that's not working out well. Oh my. You're gonna go to the left, actually. Okay, so that should have worked. But anyways, just light his tail up if you can't get the running. So from here, I personally like using the shield. Makes it easier. But you can still use the sword, whichever one you like. But on the second cycle, he's always going to do a sucking attack, which you don't want to get hit by, and then a rock. And then he'll do another sucking attack. Dodge that, and then two rocks. And then let's say you miss one of the rocks, for example, he's just going to repeat that cycle. So it's one suck, one rock, one suck, two rocks, one suck, one rock, etc. And light his tail. And just being in a corner makes him use his attacks earlier. So like, let's say I'm on this side, I want him to use an attack. He's basically just going to come towards me forever. Until I get in the corner. So we're just going to stay in the corner. And this is where the random part comes in. So there are three options rather. There's the 0 ink, the 1 ink, and the 2 ink. And he can also do his charging attack if he feels like it. Alright, so if he sucks you like that, that means he's going to shoot a rock. So you deflect that. And then he's going to use his ink attack. And there's nothing you can do here. You just sit and wait for about 20 seconds. So we don't want ink phases. Getting 0 ink is optimal. Getting 2 ink, you lose, 50 seconds or something. And then we're going to try again. Alright, so I got 2 ink here. Reflective Aura. Every time he sucks you in, it does a heart of damage, so do keep in mind your heart on the last phase. So don't want to get hit too many times because he can still use the second attack one at a time. So if I get the Fabled 2.5 ink, no, alright, there you go. So 2.5 ink is when he tries to ink for the 3rd time, but then you reflect the rock at him. It's a bad time. Stay in the corner. There we go. So he shoots boulder immediately, 2, and then 3. So that's Big Octo. Just keep in mind which phase you're on. First phase, he'll always shoot rocks. Second phase, suck, rock, rock. And then 3rd phase is random. And we're gonna skedaddle. So right here we're gonna equip boots and the ocarina. And then there's gonna be a cutscene right when we leave. So he tells us to go to the graveyard. We will not be going to the graveyard. Here, a little trick. If you use the ocarina without moving, and then you hold left, you're gonna get Zephyr, like, frame perfectly, like on the last frame before you would fall in the water. But anyways, after that, we're gonna head back to the sanctuary to use our sword. And here, necessarily, we do need to go to the left, because there are guards blocking the doors now. Guards on the Japanese and European versions have, like, no vision, so just don't be in front of them and don't talk to them, and you'll be fine. On the English version, it's a bit more difficult, so just play it safe. And when I say English, I meant North American. Alright, so this time we're going to fuse our sword, and then we're just going to directly leave. There's no other cutscenes. This time we have 3 clones, so you can put whichever 2 clones on whichever side you want. And then just make sure you have 2 on the inner cloning tiles to hit the button. Alright, and we're going to head back to South Hurl Field. And this is the portal we opened up during the Boomerang quest, which lets us go in the big house in the sky early. But basically with the Ocarina glitch, we can just walk right through the people and go up. So a difference on the European version is that this guy, you necessarily will need to move out of the way. So to do that, you just go up here, talk to this guy, and then you come back down here and talk to this guy, and then he moves out of the way. So that's on European version. If not, you can just Ocarina glitch past him. You can do that on the European version, but after the dungeon, you can't use the ocarina. So you need to climb down all the stairs. And if that guy's in the way, you're just gonna not be able to climb down and soft block, and then you can't beat the game. Because you can't get out of that section of the game. Alright, so if you need it, there's a fairy here that you can capture in a bottle. Wow. But after that, we're going to start Palace of Winds. Alright, so Palace of Winds is up next. I still have the boots and ocarina equipped, but right here you can put the boomerang and the sword. And if you want to dispel these guys, you can always just use the boomerang to knock them out of the way, because sometimes they do get annoying. Cool trick here, if you aim your boomerang to the right and you're fast enough, you can actually go across the bridge, and your boomerang is going to hit this crystal on the way down, but if you're not confident in that, just hit this one, go across, and then hit that one. Alternatively, you can always hit this one instead if there are some pestos in the way. And if you throw skulls at pestos, they die automatically, so a few things to keep in mind because they do get annoying. But anyways, you'll clear out 3 skulls, doesn't matter which 3 as long as they're on the sides of each other. Make sure you don't get hit. There you go. So yeah, if you slash the stall children, the skeletons, they'll usually jump back, and then after that you can just slash them with your sword a few times if they get in the way. Alright, with this one you can actually just charge your sword like this, or you can be on the left side and throw your boomerang, whichever one works best, but if you don't get rid of it, it will hit you. Ooh, speed tech. You can actually let yourself on fire to go a bit faster. Nice. That was meant to roll down and not across. Alright, so you're going to slash this, you're going to equip the lantern and bombs, and you're going to drop a bomb. And that's going to shrink the bridge here and make the other one grow. Grab a heart here, grab 5 bombs here, and we're at the wizard fight. So I'll go over the fast strat. You can do each cycle in one phase. No, each phase in one cycle, rather. So you're going to enter here, you're going to drop a bomb, throw it across, drop 2 bombs here. Oops, light this was robe. Okay, we're going to retry that. If you get hit by the spikes, you drop the bomb. But anyways, drop a bomb here, throw it across, drop 2 bombs, light your lantern, throw this bomb across. 1, 2, oops. Okay. That still worked. Let's actually explain what works this time. There we go. Let's see what my flips are. Alright. 1, 2, 3 bombs. Oops, I messed that up. Alright, well. Gist of it is, if you mess up though, it's not the end of the world. As you can see. There we go. The other way to do this one cycle is with the sword, so it's basically the same thing. So just throw a bomb, drop 2, slash this guy, slash this guy, slash this guy, bomb to the left, bomb to the right, and slash these guys. So whichever way is more comfortable. Lantern is what most people are using, and it's also a tiny bit faster. So that's what I would recommend. Nice. Oh my. One thing just to be wary of is the lantern's hitbox. It's where the lantern is. So if I were to approach this wizard from the right, I'm not going to hit him. I actually need to hit him with the actual lantern. So just like that. Anyways. The idea is they're all dead, and if it takes a few extra cycles, not the end of the world. But you're gonna equip the Rock's Cape and the sword, and these clouds are sort of an illusion, because there's the loading zone for the next room up here, or where the screen transition is anyways. But you don't actually need to go all the way to the top, you can just be on the 3rd cloud here, and just jump all the way there. I'll just show off again. Also, a little trick here. Ah, missed it. You can actually land on top of the cloud. One thing with the rock escape to note though is that if you hold A, you're going to go so far, but if you space your A presses, so let's say you go A and then hold A, you press A, hold A, that goes a bit farther. So normally you'll want to space out the A presses. So I'm just holding A here, lands about at the start of the spikes, and here I'm spacing them out. I'm about an extra square further. So almost every single time you want to press A and then hold A a little after you jump. Right here, there's a strat. You can actually make this jump pretty easily. The timing is a bit tricky, and I'm showing it off very poorly. I'm just gonna save here. Okay. So what I do is I wait for that last Chu to jump, and then you can just jump diagonally down. So from the spawn, there's going to be a crow that attacks you. From down, he jumps, and make it like that. This will take a bit of getting used to for the timing. Jump, he jumps. Alright, so for them to get up, jump, and you can make it. But yeah, that's just something timing that you'll need to practice. So same thing, all the way up on the third cloud, and jump across. Alright, here you're going to wait for the platform to get closer to you before you step on, just to give you a bit of extra time. But this part isn't extremely difficult. Just make sure you don't dispel your clones on the wall on the top. And there are a few auto-scroller sections, so nothing particularly noteworthy here. So here the timing is when the second crow starts moving. That's when you're going to want to jump. So here, I wait, and then I see the second crow move, so I can just jump from there. And it's a pretty lenient window. Nice. Here, he moves, and we can go. Obviously, the longer you wait, the safer it becomes, but you just don't want to spend too much time waiting. Alright, so here's the last of the route changes with all the new tricks and stuff. So in this room, we're going to jump down here, and we're actually going to do the angle retention glitch that we did earlier in the run. So basically, okay, I'm just going to redo that because you can make this cycle pretty easily. And this is the fast cycle. So you can come up here, use your key in here, and what you're going to do is you're going to hold down right. So now I have the diagonal angle. You're going to just charge your sword and just enter the hole like that. And that actually makes you jump on a diagonal, and now we're on the higher layer, and we're sort of out of bounds. We're going to go until we're lined up with this wall right here. Go up, go all the way till we're hugging the door, and then just go left. If you don't do it like that, there is a number of different ways that you can soft lock. So just do it pretty much exactly like I did. You know, if you don't make the faster cycle, that's really not the end of the world. Like if I go here, okay, I missed it. I'm gonna chill in this hole for a bit. Alright, let's click the cane, do this, down right, charge your sword, and then enter like that. That's totally fine too, right? But go on this wall, go up, until you're hugging the door, and then go right, and that should work pretty much most of the time. Pretty much most of the time. Alright, we're gonna hit this, and grab the key. And we're actually going to go do that again. We need this and this. because this time we're gonna go over the locked door right there. Same thing, bottom right, and here we can have the sword and rock skip equipped. The exact same glitch, except you don't face upwards after, because that stops the glitch from working. Right, touch nothing, and we're good. You just walk over the door, and this one you don't need to be as precise, because you can just jump up here and keep going with the dungeon. And that skips, that actually skips the power bracelets. Nice. So this next room, oops, well, actually just wait. This next room is actually a bit tricky. You can start charging boosts here, and the cycle that you want to make is a bit hard, so you'll want to practice this one as well, especially. We do need to take damage here to make the cycle, but this is the cycle you'll want to make, so that wind gust. Now it is possible to do it without boots, but the timing is a bit tighter. And again, you necessarily want to run across these guys. Oh, just like that. That cycle saves about 2 seconds to not getting it. These boots here. You can jump to these clouds from pretty far away. So these clouds, you can actually make it without jumping on them. You can, if you spacer jumps out very well. I'm not very good at this part. Anyways, you can make it. I don't recommend going for it though. And then same thing for this section. You can also make it like that. That one is a bit tougher. If you just start from here, you can actually just jump straight to the first cloud, and then it makes it basically free. So this one, instead of going up to the third, you just need to go up to the second cloud and go up. Alright, you can run down, jump over these guys, and these guys take 6 hits each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a cool trick you can do, grabbing the key midair. Saves a bit of time. That's if you don't go for the Palace of Winds Ocarina glitch, but I'm not going to cover it here. If you need to, this guy dies to a pop throw, so if he's sort of in your way. But you can play around him. There we go. And if you're low on health, there's a heart in this pot. I also didn't mention it earlier, but you can use the boomerang on this enemy, and he's going to drop the fairy every time. Very nice. Grab the heart, hit the switch. And then we have another fight coming up, so we're going to want the bombs clipped here, drop one at the top here, and one in the wind gust. And that's going to hit the 2 wizrobes that pop up. And if it hits one of the moblins, they die immediately. But if not, there's 3 sword hits away from death. Oops, just like that. If you're running low on bombs, you can opt to just use 1 bomb. Some people just hit the bottom one and then deal with the top wizrobe here. Not like that. Something like that. But whatever you do, just make sure... Oops. Make sure everything dies. Not like that. Alright, so we're going to have another boss door clipping coming up, like right now. So you're going to equip the boomerang and the boots. And if you need it, you can grab a fairy here. I just normally pick it up, I don't bother bottling it, but if you need to, it's there. Then same thing, boomerang on A. you're just gonna look at the door and hold A, and wait for the boomerang to come back, and it's that easy. You can't actually go back to this. In case you have the boomerang on B, it's just the exact same thing. You're just holding B and then press A. It's the same concept, just I find boomerang on A just more consistent because you don't need to think about it. Go to the right, and then you can charge the boots holding up, looking up, and then once you're at this room, you're going to hold left. You don't want to spring transition up there. Trust me on that one. Oops. And you're just going to run to the right, and we're already at the boss. It is that easy. Oops. Alright. So, Georg is pretty simple. You can start charging your sword a bit earlier. It doesn't matter what you do with the tiles. So like, for example... Okay, so even if I don't do the exact same thing, you can still hit all the ice every single time. And then jump to this guy. And that's the same for every single cycle. A spin attack, if you're lucky. So, I'm facing down. When Link does a spin attack, he actually starts from the back, goes to the front, and then does an entire spin. So in this case, I am going to hit this eye twice. If it's this eye, or this eye, you actually do one spin attack, and that hits it. If it's this eye, then you'll need to do 2 spin attacks, but anyways. So he gets hit there twice, is what I was getting at. And make sure you're dodging his energy balls there. And you can actually keep your clones throughout the phases. Oops. As long as you don't get hit. These do make a lot of damage, so really do your best to not get hit by them. Cycle 2, he does have the option of swinging his tail before he opens his eyes. Looks like I got lucky there, but I still got hit anyways. And then Cycle 3 is sometimes a bit harder to manage just because he is more in your face. But no matter what the cycle is, you can still do it in 2 phases. Or, no matter what the phase is, you can still do it in 2 cycles. Alright. And last thing, I will kill myself if I don't show this off, but if the eyes are in this position, so there's 2 on top and 1 on the right, you can actually just hit them like that. It's like a 2 or 3 pixel window. So like, okay, well, keep getting it. Like, you can miss it a few times before you get it, and that's fine. One last thing to note about this boss is that if you hit 2 eyes or less, he's never going to take damage. You necessarily need to hit him on 3 eyes. So, like, this is fine, like, this is fine, but, like, this is not fine. So, like that. And, yeah, that's your... Yeah, not too complex of a boss, but if you don't pay attention, you will get bullied a significant amount. Especially by his minions. Alright, we're gonna get the heart container. And skedaddle. Alright, so we're gonna get the boots and ocarina. On the European version, Zephyr doesn't actually come down, so as I mentioned before, you just need to walk all the way down to stairs back to the portal, and then use the ocarina once you're outside. But on Japanese and North American, you can just do it from the entrance of the dungeon. Alright, the guard cycles are the exact same. Nothing new here. And we're going to fuse our sword for the 4th and final time. I'm just going to speed this up a bit. Here, one thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure you know which button you have your boots on and which button you have the ocarina on, or else you're going to use the ocarina instead. So, you can unequip earlier, but Anyways. Okay, so Vadi's actually the king. And that's good. Okay, so after the cutscene, gonna run down again until you're at about the corner of the pedestal. Same thing that we did after the water element. And the small time saver here is actually fusing on the further tile before you fuse on the closer one. Alright, we're gonna show off a little trick here. So there's a tile right here, I believe. So this tile, you're gonna line up Link's shadow pretty close to it. The lineup is actually super huge, like this works, this works. I think that works. But anyways, you're gonna line up with it, charge your sword, walk to the right, and in front of the mayor, and you're gonna release it and hold down. That activates Eslo and the mayor at the same time, and it's a glitch called cutscene walking. So once that's done, you can charge your sword while he's unfreezing, and then unfreeze the guard, who's gonna unfreeze while you can unfreeze the last guy, and it works out pretty well. Yeah, again, anywhere on this tile should work. Again, just line up Link's shadow. Alternatively, you can unfreeze the bottom one first. It doesn't make that big a difference. Oops. And there we go. Alright. So after you get through that section... Okay, so after you get through that, there's going to be an Eslo trigger here. Your next equips are going to be the Rock's Cape and the Ocarina. If this guy's in the way, you can just jump over him and try to avoid damage like that. Oops. And then through these guys, you can jump over the fire bars. They're not too threatening. In this next room, you're going to want to be wary of these guys, because if one of them hits you, you get cursed, and then you can't use any items, which means you can't do the Ocarina glitch. And it doesn't go away if you go downstairs, so you just need to wait it out. So try to avoid them. You can try to jump over them if you see them. Like that, sort of. Ocarina glitch, and then jumping down here saves a few frames. And all the way back. I didn't mention this before, but with the Ocarina glitch activated, you can't make clones. So, yeah, that's just another oddity. Oops. Get the boots out. Alright, so if you're gonna screen transition up, I didn't mention this earlier, but if you roll downstairs, so like let's say you go like this, I'm not on the lower layer, so I can't go up the wall. So you really want to make sure you walk down these stairs or run down the stairs with the boots. So now you can't go up the wall, because that will be important for this section. It's also important in Temple of Droplets, I guess. I didn't mention that earlier. You're going to walk up, you're going to be stuck in the wall, so you're just going to mash A for the Rock's Cape, and go down. Right here's a little trick. Same thing as when you entered Fortress of Winds. If Link just glides across the side of this door, and then you're going to hold left, he's going to just skip past the corner over here. There you go. And just make sure you're not holding left before the screen transition. Alright, we're going to exit out here and go back in. That just sets up a save war for later, so we'll come back here instead of in front of the sanctuary. Alright. Like that. So this is a trick here. I'll show you what it looks like normally. So there are 4 cannons here that you're going to want to deflect. So this puzzle isn't super complex or anything. You just make clones and then deflect like that. One thing you can do though is you can drop a bomb, pick it up, throw it at a specific place. Nice, I missed that. But yeah, you're gonna throw it at a specific place and it's gonna reflect the cannon shots. So drop bomb. Okay, like that, but you would hit both the cannons. So what you want to do is you're going to come up here. You're going to, first of all, be on the, you're going to hug the side of this wall. You're going to drop a bomb right under the square. Then you're going to go around. Stop. You're going to go around, and right here where the ground changes colors between the two cannon shots, you're just going to throw up. And then you roll to the right, roll up, and you're going to slash your sword to hit the other two cannon shots. Ah. One thing is that if you get hit by one of the cannonballs, you drop the bomb, and then your setup doesn't work anymore. So do be wary of that. Oops, that was a bit low. Should still be fine. There we go. So just like that. Keep in mind that this Ezreal trigger still exists, so if you do the bomb trick, we'll keep that in mind for later. This room is pretty easy. You just do a big S on the bottom, and then you do small S's on top. Nice. Big S's on the bottom, and then small S's on top. And if you mess up, you can hit the button to the left, as you guys saw. Right here, you're going to roll down, and you're going to start charging your sword. Okay. Let's pretend you just entered here. You're going to roll down and start charging your sword, and make sure you avoid the moblins. And the reason you want to charge so early is because you want to hit these tiles as early as possible. For two reasons. First of all, it's faster, and second of all, you're going to avoid the trap. So as you just saw, I was able to get the chest without too much trouble. But like, let's say you start charging, you know, in this room or right before this room. The cycle for the trap is going to be a little off. So you're going to come here, and then he's going to hit you, and you're going to lose your clones. So do what I did in the first one. If not, just play it safe and, yeah, play it safe. Anyways, equip the boots, equip the ocarina, and we're gonna save warp. Oops, that was supposed to be a roll. And hold left, so you go up these stairs. You're gonna do another ocarina glitch. So I didn't mention this earlier. Well, I did, yes. But if you are too far to the left, you're going to jump down, and this will soft lock the game. So really make sure that you go in the middle of the stairs when you run down them. Alright, keep in mind that if you did do the bomb strat for the cannon, there will be the Ezreal trigger still there. So you want to go above it and to the left of it. And this time we're going to be going left. I'm going to jump down this door. If you're low on bombs, there are bombs in these pots. There's also arrows in these pots, so take whatever you need, because we will need one bomb later. Grab the key, and save and quit. And we're going to do the exact same thing. So run up these stairs. Nice. Arena glitch. Don't hit me. And the spears do 1 heart of damage, so you want to avoid those as much as possible. But instead, this time we're going to be going down and to the right. Alright, and when you get to the bottom of this this texture on the wall, it's right around here, you're just going to hold right, use your boots, and then hold down. And that should make you go into this room every time. Same thing, jump down. Hit the switch. We're going to equip the Rock's Cape over the boots, and we're going to do the last Ocarina glitch here. Alright, so you're going to have your Rock's Cape equipped, you're going to do the Ocarina glitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over this closed door. So the way to go about it is you're going to sort of have Link be under the door, right until you see the edge of his hat, so that should be fine. You're going to jump and hold down left. That was not fine. Okay, that should be fine. You're going to jump and hold down left. After the screen transition, you just hold left, and then you jump over the door. So a few things to note is that you want to be as close to the bottom of the door as possible. Oops, but if you go too far, screen transition, and that's no good because you can't jump there. Jump, hold down left, and then hold left after the screen transition. If you do... I got it again, okay. If you do accidentally screen transition, that's fine, you just need to go back, but now you can't jump, just because of how the Ocarina glitch works. Once you screen transition, it sort of puts you in a state of the first tile where you enter the room, which is under a door, and you can't normally jump there. So to fix it, you just need to roll, and then you can jump again, and that's fine. But now there's Wizards after you, so this part may be a bit trickier. You just line up again, down left, hold left, and it's good like that. Oops. I'll just show it off one more time. So after you jump off like that, you can just roll straight up past these bars. Coming up in this room is the exact same trick. So you can jump again. You can't jump again, you need to roll first. But there's a bit more of a space between the door, so the door ends here, and the screen transition starts over here. So you need to be a bit more to the right. So this one's a bit harder to visually line up, so you just sort of have to guess at it if you're good. If you're having trouble with that one, you can equip the sword and charge it going backwards, and then wait until you don't see the sword anymore, or like a few pixels is fine. Jump, hold down left. I messed it up again. That, jump, hold down left, and then hold left after the screen transition. And it's easy as that. So a few things to note is if you jump and hold down left, and then the camera sort of pans back up like that, that means you messed it up, basically. If you don't screen transition, and camera pans back up before you can, that's not going to work. Just make sure on the bottom, so that's not good. And again, you need to roll, so that the ending of your roll finishes at this place. Oh, wow, that one was going to work. Yeah, as you can see, this trick is a bit finicky. Oh, okay, I guess I got it. But that's not what I want to show off. There we go. Okay, so after this part, you're going to equip the sword. And this one's pretty simple. You just need to jump over them, and they normally always throw their ball and chains. You just jump like that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm entering the room. Jump diagonally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. So this room should be pretty simple. But if you do need to play it safe, because they do a bunch of damage, just keep on jumping over them until they stop swinging their ball and chains. There, sort of like that. Alright, so we still have the Ocarina glitch activated. So this next room is the one where we need the bomb. If you don't have a bomb, you can kill these guys and hopefully they'll have a bomb drop. There, I got you. There you go. But anyways, 3. Nice. You're gonna come up here. You can roll if you want. Don't roll into the pit, rather. And you need to be facing forward and just place the bomb. So that's just gonna put the bomb on the wall. After that, equip the boomerang and the rockscape. And you're gonna throw the boomerang, hit these 2 switches. Oops. And there you go. And you're gonna want to exit. But with the Ocarina glitch activated, you can't actually fall down these, which is a problem. What you can do though is after you land, you can roll, and that'll put you back underneath. So you can just wait for the platform to be under you and roll towards the wall and land on the platform like that. The fast strat though is you're going to wait for the platform to be sort of right south of you and then just roll onto it like that. So whichever one you're more comfortable with, depending on where the platform cycle is, one could be faster than the other. If you need health, you already have the boomerang equipped, so grab a fairy. And we're going to keep going. There's a Dark Knight in this room. He takes 7 hits. There's a strat that if you just hug the side of this wall and then you roll up, you can actually just sort of stun lock him into the door. gonna try to do it here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. So just like that. Enter the room. Hug the pillar. Roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you might need to, go up or upright or just straight right, depending on your position. So that's just, you need to get a feeling for it. If not, let's say you do, I don't know, a few hits and it doesn't work, you can just jump diagonally towards his side, and normally you can get 2 hits in. Keep in mind if he does, that attack does like 2.5 hearts of damage. So if he does, come on buddy. Nope. Nope. That attack, you can just slash him facing forwards. Oh my, he's really not cooperating. I want to show one thing. There we go. So you should normally be able to hit him out of that. I don't know why I can't. Okay, normally you should. I guess it doesn't work going left and right? I have no idea. That's not something I can answer. There you go. Okay, I guess it doesn't work left and right. But yeah, if he charges or anything, it's the same thing as other Dark Knights. So if you can learn the fast strat, obviously do that. If not, just make sure you know how to recover. Didn't want to get that. Alright, you can roll through these guys. Next room, we're going to want to jump again. So you're going to enter the room, and you're going to want to roll. And these guys only take 3 hits. So again, jump on the diagonals, and you should be able to hit them like that. That was actually really fast. So roll up, jump on the diagonals. 1, 2, okay, they're both at 2. There we go. Just like that. Yeah, that fight's not too hard. So Lantern, this room's simple. You're just going to go clockwise. At the end here, it's actually a bit faster to get the bottom Lantern first. Bottom torch, rather. And then keep going. In this next room, there's going to be 4 genies, which are the ghost type enemies. There's 3 fake ones and 1 real one. So this one's the real one. You can see him sort of react to damage, as opposed to these guys will just sort of phase in and out of existence. So you need to find the real one. So you can roll up, hit 2 of them. That's not real, that's not real. This one is. Hit him 3 times. And keep going. This one's real. There you go. It's not too bad. If you mess it up, this room can sort of snowball really fast. If one of them grabs me. It's like, let's say I'm grabbed. I'm going to fall out of it. Okay, he's going to grab me now. So you can just take a lot of damage really, really fast. And have a very, very small amount of time to swing your sword. So make sure it doesn't do that. Because, like, I had this much health at the beginning. And I ended up with a heart and 3/4. Oops. Okay, that was actually particularly bad. But anyways, find the real one as fast as you can. And take him out. So this room can go really fast, but also snowball. There we go. We're going to grab the last small key of the game, equip the cane, and save and quit. Alright, so we're ready for the final boss. So we're going to come to the right here and just use the cane 4 times, just to get rid of all 4 of these pots. And after that, you can open these, not going diagonally, the chest box. If you need hearts, there are 2 of them right here. And then the bottom 2 parts, I believe, are random, so you might get lucky, but grab the health if you need it. Grab the big key. If you want to be like super safe, you can come down here and put a fairy in a bottle. That's totally fine. Anyways, once you grab the big key, we're gonna head to the boss. So don't roll here. There's Nuzzle trigger, the last one of the game. Even though there is text before it, it still does count as a Nuzzle trigger, so it'll slow you down if you roll into it. But anyways, you can roll after that and then just jump over this guy, and it's easy. Alright, this room's not too difficult, but you can lose your clones easily. Just make 4 clones, and if there's a Keaton in front of you, just slash. There you go. They're not too hard. Okay, this is the big room before the boss. There are going to be 3 Dark Nuts. The red ones take 3 hits, and the black one takes 5. So you're going to run up and jump, and hope he dashes, and if he dashes, you can just, I'm actually going to show this off. So I'll do this until I get the right randomness. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you get that, the rest of this fight becomes significantly easier. Just again, the diagonal jumping. Another one charges, and you can get it. That's great. But assuming it doesn't, which most likely won't happen, you just jump over this one and you try to hit them as much as possible. And careful for that attack, because it does do a lot of damage. Yeah, this room you will probably take a lot of damage. In these 4 pots there are hearts, so feel free to take those if you need them. But out of the final boss parts, this one's definitely the one where you're probably should be the most wary of. Alright, if there's one left and you find it easier, you can just go back to the boot strat. Don't get hit by that. Or something like that. If you get the timing right, anyways. And then the other thing you can do is if you're having a lot of trouble just hitting these guys, it's not working out, you can equip bombs. I only have 1 bomb, but if the bomb hits them like that, they take damage, and it's basically the equivalent of 1 sword slash. So if you loaded up on bombs earlier, you can just throw all of them at them, and if it explodes close to them, they also get stunned, so you can get another hit or 2 in there as well. Ooh. Nice. Let me do that. There we go. And after the fight, if there are pots left and you need the health, feel free to pick it up. Alright, Vadi 1. Okay, so Vadi 1, first thing in the top 2 pots, there are going to be hearts. So in this one, and the other top pot. There are arrows in this one, and then there's a fairy in this one. So if you need either another fairy in a bottle or 4 quick hearts, that one's there for that. I guess I'll talk about this now. If you see this attack coming through, you can just use your Gust Jar on it to dispel it immediately. And then fire, you can use your sword, which most of the time it should break away the fire. But anyways, let's say you're starting from the beginning. You can just mash your B button, or your SIR button rather, which should be on B anyways. And you'll normally hit both eyes. Okay, I missed it here, but... flash him like that, and that's pretty much all the fight is. So the first cycle, there's 2 eyes. The second and third cycle... oops, I guess I didn't hit him enough, so we're still on the first cycle. 1 hit. Thanks. First cycle, there's 2 eyes. The second and third cycle, there's 4 eyes, and then the cycles after that, there are going to be 4 eyes with the black balls around them. So we'll get to that soon, though. So the second cycle, third cycle, and starting now, you're going to want to use the Gust Jar on his core, and that's just going to take off all the black balls immediately, and it makes things go significantly faster. Nice. So let's say you don't do that, and you, I don't know, you missed or something. You just need to go to guys one by one and just do that. It's pretty slow, but do what you gotta do. Oh, there you go. That was pretty good. Nice, nice. Anyways, you shouldn't do that though. Just aim on his core. It's pretty easy. And there you go. That's Vadi 1. Okay, so Vadi 2. He's pretty simple. So we'll go about that. But there's a 3-cycle strat that you'll want to go for. So first you'll equip the boots and the bow. So same thing as we did earlier in the run. You'll want to use bow canceling on him. And he has 8 little eyes around him. So the red eyes are the ones that you're going to want to hit. And they're always going to be in a C shape. So like that. And then the other 4 eyes are just going to be blue like that, and they don't do anything. Just trust me on this one. So the first cycle, it's always these 4, but after that it's random, but it's never the same cycle twice. So you'll never get 2 on the bottom in a row. It's going to be the first one's on the bottom, the second one might be on the right side, or on the top or something. But anyways, you're going to want to reveal the eyes. Split on the corresponding panels. And slash the eyes. I don't like that. There you go. And just slash them like that. So it's pretty simple. Let's say we go fast. No. Oh, he jumped over me. Alright, so like that's the first cycle. Back equip the boots. Oh my. Alright, so now I know that it can't be on the bottom, so it has to be on the right side this time. The purple stuff you can clear with your sword. If there's too much around, it might be a good idea. Alright, so the third cycle is where things get tricky. Oops. Alright, so it's on the right side, left side. You're going to want to equip your sword, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to be facing away from Vadi. Nice. You're going to spin attack him, and then you're going to go towards him and slash your sword. So this is after you clear the eyes. We'll just save a state. So hit, spin attack away from Vadi, spin, and then hold, in this case, right and mash your sword. And that's going to make it do a 3-cycle instead of a 4-cycle. So once again, hit, and you only need to do this on the 3rd cycle. The first few you can just normally slash your sword. So like that. Let's say you miss it for some reason. It's not the easiest trick in the world. You just slash your sword. You get the 3-cycle. Just gonna go back to the bow. And the 4th cycle, normally it is a 4-cycle fight. You're doing it as intended. But the 4th cycle, he's significantly faster, and also when he does his attacks, he does like 2 or 3 strung together. So you have the rocks that you need to avoid, and the purple crap you need to avoid. Want to go around him. And nothing special in the 4th cycle, you just slash him. And that's Vadi 2. Not super complex. His purple stuff either drops hearts or arrows. So if you're running low on arrows or health, you can just walk around and clear those. Alright, you actually want to tap down here so Link takes a small step back. That's the tiniest bit more optimal. Alright. So we don't need any bombs or arrows or anything, but there are 2 fairies in this pot and this pot that you can get. The other ones have bombs and arrows, but we don't need them. So if you need health, or if you want another ball fairy for the last fight, do that. But if not, we're just going to run towards the sanctuary. Alright, so Body 3, final boss, or final boss. So first thing you're going to want to do is equip the Kanepachi. Just going to fast forward this a bit. We'll need that soon. Alright, so when his arm goes underwater, under the ground, you're going to want to get as close to the portal as possible, because the arm's going to go up close to you, and the closer it is to the portal, the less you have to travel as a Minish. So that just makes it a bit faster. One thing some people have started doing, it's a bit more consistent, so you can equip the boomerang here and stun the eyes. And then like that, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's pretty easy basically. If you don't decide to stun it, you don't want to use the equip, you can just keep all of this equipped and then just like basically follow it around and hit it like that. I'll show what it looks like more on the second cycle. Whoops, wrong buttons again. If you want to stand on the portal, the body can't hit you, so you just wait until the arm goes underground again. Sometimes they'll like swing twice. Alright, we're good. Oh, alright, watch this. Okay. Alright, it's always pretty far away, but not the end of the world. Here we're gonna need the lantern. And basically just follow him. So 8 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8. There we go. And that's phase 1. So it's pretty simple. Phase 2 is when things get a bit tougher. So basically, you're going to want to manipulate him. It's not RNG or anything. It's just if you're standing in front of him, he's more likely to... If you're standing in front of him, he's more likely to use the attack that we want him to use, which is not that one. Alright, for some reason he's not giving it to me. This one. And with clones, you're basically just going to reflect it and hit the eyes back. So, let's do with that. You jump off the portal. Stand in front of him. Get your clones ready. And he's going to give me bad attacks. So that's fine. You can't do anything about this. And he's going to do it again. So if he ever starts moving, instead of attacking when he's supposed to attack, that means that he's going to use the electric balls. In this case, I actually missed it, so we're going to have to recharge our clones. Just careful that your clones don't get hit by the electricity. There you go. I like to line it up with the spin attack and then slash. So it's relatively easy. But it is something you'll need to practice, because even if you're just a tiny bit off, the balls can go in different directions and then sort of snowballs from there. You can also do a spin attack to hit all the eyes. That's something else that a lot of people do for consistency. And then the third method, I guess, is just line up and just like that. So that's basically the 3 methods that people use to reflect Vadi's balls back to him. I'll do it one more time because it is easy to mess up. I'll show what a bad cycle looks like. Like, let's say I'm not completely centered. Never mind, that worked anyways. Having multiple clones here doesn't actually do more damage. So it's better to just dispel your clones and roll towards Vadi to save those precious frames. Alright, anyways, let's say you're trying to line up and you're poorly lined up. They're not going to go in the direction. And in that case, you don't have enough time for your clones to wait for the next attack. Because he will always do the electric attack, nice, after one of the blue ball attacks. Unless, like, there are very certain conditions where that won't happen. Alright, so we're probably getting this again here. Holding bright. Yeah. Anyways, this is the snowballing effect I was talking about, where it's easy to start messing up a lot because the electric balls are after you. Damn, I only have one bomb. Oh, this is something else that can happen. Sometimes you can't quite get there. You can actually slash to the side, and sometimes it'll work. For that reason, some people do recommend fusing once here, 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 and then putting the link in the middle. That is a bit slower, though, to set up, so sometimes it's not the most practical way of setting that up. And in this case, I'm just getting electric balls over and over again, so it's actually going to waste a lot of time, because my phones are going to disappear. That was tragic. Alright. So anyways, if you have time to set it up, setting up one on the outside is a bit more optimal in the cases like I just showed, where the body's just bullying you. If you have 2 bombs, you can actually throw 2 bombs at body and he dies, but we don't, so it's slower. Just roll up and slash him. But once Vadi's eye turns to the hypnotic thingy that he's doing, that's when time ends. And that's it for Minish Cap. So yeah, I hope you all learned a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. It's been a long journey, but here we are. If you have any questions, the Discord's always accessible, and there are a bunch of people in there that are willing to help out. If not, you can comment on this video or contact me on Twitter. I'll have social media stuff in the description, I guess, if you want to ask any questions. But Discord probably is the best place, since people are there at all hours of the day. And other than that, that's pretty much it for any percent. There's well, there's always glitchless, but glitchless is the first, or a bunch of the game is relatively the same. It's only 40-ish minutes longer. And then there's 100% that not many people run, but if you want to look into those, Discord is again the place to ask. But other than that, yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys learned, and I hope to see you around the Discord. I guess I'll let the credits play out just for completion's sake, but that's it for me, so thanks for watching.